Everybody ready, set, go. Rev it up and let's roll. There's a party in the fast lane. Got my hands on the wheel and I'm flying. Heartbeat loud as the thunder rolls. Riding in on the stampede of lightning. I'm bringing back the sunshine. Bringing back the sunshine. Baby, it's about time. Bring it back.
Welcome to NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Bristol. It's the Bass Pro Shops NRA Night Race. For all the stories you need before the green flag, let's go back to pit road. Start with Kelly Stout.
Rick, it's consistency that has put young Chase Elliott into playoff contention, but this team doesn't want to leave anything to chance. They know they've got just 3 shots left to win their way into the postseason. Crew Chief Alan Gustafson told me he thinks this is their best car, their best chance to win one here at Bristol. Chase Elliott lines up 4th, Marty.
Kelly, Kyle Busch has 5 wins at Bristol, more than any other track on the circuit. For him, what's the key to his success here? Qualifying poorly? Yeah, he joked with me a moment ago. He said, hey, listen, when I qualify poorly at Bristol, we seem to run well. He said, I did the first part of that earlier this weekend, qualifying 18th. Don't be surprised, there's 18 cars in victory lane today, Parker.
Jay McMurray is having one of his consistent seasons of his entire career, but he lacks one crucial detail, a victory. I asked him what it's going to take to win here at Bristol tonight. He said he needs to be absolutely perfect here. He'll roll off 11th, Dave.
Rookie Eric Jones is enjoying a solid first season, but he's so far out of the playoff picture, it's likely only a win will get him in. He starts from pole tonight, and Rick, his goal is only 500 laps away.
Absolutely. And we're joined by another one of our crew members that actually was with us in Daytona, the 5th member. And he might be a little bit new to the Bristol because he wasn't really sure where you're allowed to stand when you're maybe doing a report, like when you stand on the no standing sign.
Well, it's only a bright yellow, Rick. He wasn't sure he could see it clearly behind the line, but our man right here making sure everyone's safe at Bristol, he's got eyes on Otto, and he said, man, you are behind the line. We need you to step forward.
Yes, that's right.
Field vet. We have rules here, Otto.
Our Olympian, Otto Bolden, joining us once again. Otto.
Just for the record, guys, I was maybe 2 inches over that line. But here's the thing. You see the fans behind me, they can't wait for the green flag. Bristol's already taught me some lessons, and here's the thing. When I saw Daytona, wide open, the back cam, all that speed, I thought, this is the racing I would enjoy. And then yesterday, that Xfinity race, I figured, how is any of this going to be any fun? And then the race got started. I was shocked at how much fun it was to watch racing at Bristol, so I can't wait.
And Otto, I am so glad that you are wearing headphones because we are just seconds away from it getting almost deafening loud here inside the Coliseum. And that's because it's time to fire the engines. Let's go trackside for the command.
Race fans, are you ready? Bristol, let me hear you. Are you ready? For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, this is Bristol. Let's get ready to rumble!
Everybody at Bass Pro Shops and our great conservation partners at the NRA, Ducks Unlimited, and the state of Tennessee. This race is proudly dedicated to the sportsmen and women of America. Drivers, start your engines!
scenes have come to life and the fans are on the edge of their seats. NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Monster Energy. Unleash the beast. Toyota. Let's go places. And by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. One of the biggest races of the year. The drivers take part in introductions. They have a lot of fun. Enjoying the moment. Taking advantage of showing a little bit of their personality. How about one driver making his final start at Bristol in Dale Earnhardt Jr. Kyle Busch going for the sweep. He won the Camping World Truck Series race on Wednesday, the Xfinity race last night, and now can he win the Cup race here in Thunder Valley? Unbelievable crowd on hand here to enjoy Saturday night racing. As we see the starting grid will go across the bottom of your screen. We want to be able to talk to one of the gladiators that will be fighting out there on this half-mile track tonight, and that will be the driver of the number 14, Clint Bowyer.
Mr. Bowyer, Jeff Burton in the NBC booth. You got a moment to talk?
I got you, buddy.
Well, listen, man, you're in a very tight battle to try to make these playoffs, but you're on one of the most treacherous tracks that we go to all year long. How do you approach tonight?
You just got to approach this track like always. You got to attack this racetrack. You got to be aggressive. There is no place to, you can't find a hole and hide here. It's just not one of them tracks. You got to be up on the wheel every lap. You know that. Fun racetrack, and we're going to have fun tonight. We're going to try to win this thing. We finished second in the spring. We're here to win. Forget all the points. Win fixes all that.
We talk about winning, Clint, and this racetrack has that bottom groove, that VHT PJ1 that's been put on it. How does that change how you attack this racetrack?
Just added an extra element to it, right? It definitely gives you a lane to pass on, an opportunity to pass. I see that going to wear out, you know, in these first and second stages as we go around here. But definitely love the aspect of being able to apply that, creating some atmosphere on the racetrack. We're going to run hard. We're going to be down there. We're going to be on the top of the racetrack finish board. We're going to be all over this place, just like everybody is. That's why they come by the thousands to watch us.
Well, man, we can't wait to watch. Good luck tonight. Have fun.
All right, boys. Hey, somebody try to keep an eye on Letarte. He's the only one capable of talking fast enough to keep her, you know, up with the cars around here. Might have to pull some tape on him. Don't let him overheat.
Totally unsolicited. A shot totally unsolicited.
That will
Shots
definitely
fired.
be a point of reference there. As we look at, this is the camera that's on the visor of Clint Bowyer, so it will give us a great perspective. Really appreciate the 14 team and Clint allowing us to do that. So that's inside the car. How about that? Thank you, Dale Jr. The cards in the grandstands. Our aerial coverage provided by our partners at Smithfield Foods. The sun starting to set on Bristol Motor Speedway. Want to take a look at tonight's Ram Guts and Glory.
Well, it all starts right from Wednesday night. You got to have the guts to overcome adversity. Kyle Busch got penalized, had to start in the back in the Truck Series, found his way all the way back to the front.
Yeah, and then came back last night in the Xfinity Series, had a fast car, same story, speeding on pit road. Then the same ending, drove all the way to the front to get the win. 2 steps into the triple. Nobody even thought about winning all 3 races at a racetrack, but this guy did it once before, going for the triple tonight, Rick.
He did it back in 2010. It's been 22 years since it's even been possible to do, and Kyle Busch is the only man that has ever done it. He swept a weekend, winning all 3 of the National Series in NASCAR. He has 179 total wins across Camping World Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and the Cup Series. Let's take a closer look at the numbers of Bristol Motor Speedway.
Well, as we mentioned, 500 laps, a little over 260 miles. The whole key is the stages. The first 2, 125 laps each. The final stage, 250. A long ways on fuel, about 175 laps.
Row 1, Eric Jones in the 77 has chosen the outside line. Kyle Larson in the 42 on the inside line. Coming out of turn number 4. Saturday night, racing under the lights. It's Bristol, baby. move early by the younger Chase Elliott. Number 24 making the move up to second. Here comes the 78 as well. Martin Truex Jr. following Chase Elliott around the track. He's moved up to third. Kyle Larson's fallen all the way back to fourth.
Daniel Suarez went way up the racetrack in that blue and white 19 car.
But instantly you see what Clint Boyer was talking about. Action everywhere, nowhere to hide here at this tightly compacted high bank half mile.
I don't think it's going to take long. I think this bottom grain, wow, the 42 car sideways of Kyle Larson, but I think this bottom lane will get fired off here in just a little bit. You see how black the bottom of the racetrack is? That's the material that the racetrack has put on to create more grip on the bottom of the racetrack.
It's the Toyota on board of Kenseth as we see a battle for the lead. Chase Elliott is going to take it away from Eric Jones. Elliott out front.
You just said it, Jeff, the bottom lane. You thought it would come in. Well, Chase Elliott believed it, and he's now making time right against the bottom of the racetrack.
I think that bottom will stay good for a little bit. Keselowski with trouble.
Keselowski slow. Left front tires down. He's going to have to get to pit road. It's difficult to get to pit road here at Bristol.
And you see the donut right there on the 2 in the left side door. That tells me that he must have had a little bit of contact with someone as we see another battle for the lead as Eric Jones tried to fight back to the point.
Eric Jones takes the low line, and he'll take the lead away from Chase Elliott. Now Elliott battling back in the middle of the track. Take a look at the 2 of Brad Keselowski. And we saw Ty Dillon in the 13 get up into the wall, but also an issue with 47, A.J. Allmendinger.
And Brad actually missed pit road the first time, had to go all the way around the racetrack to come back to pit road. So, Steve, he's going to be many laps down.
He is, but it's early in the night. He's just going to have to try to figure a way to fight back as we ride along with a 24 of Chase Elliott. That Chevrolet on board, we see a little contact from Matt Kenseth. That is Bristol. That's what it's about. You got to make a move the guy in front of you.
Kenseth moved him out of the way. So Kenseth trying to get toward the front. Now he's up to third. Eric Jones, Kyle Larson, Matt Kenseth, 1, 2, 3.
Rick, there couldn't be a better time in the season for this race. 3 races to the playoffs. Big names like Matt Kenseth without a guarantee. Why he's in currently on points, he knows that's no guarantee. This is a track, 4 wins. He knows tonight could be his night.
Look how black that racetrack is from this front bumper cam. You can clearly see where the material has been put on the racetrack and why there's so much grip. That black material is just sticky stuff. That's all it is. But it's going to wear out as this race goes on, and you're going to see the cars move to the top.
You mentioned Brad Keselowski, Jeff. A quick update on the 2. It looks like he's lost 3, possibly 4 laps trying to come to pit road.
Hey, Steve, how long do you give that bumper cam on that 20 car of Matt Kenseth on the very front of the car? They hope it stays there all evening long. Jeff, you mentioned all the wins and success here at Bristol. I asked him, do you consider this a must-win in these final 3 regular season races? He said, I've never been to a race where I didn't think I had to win the race. And Dave also told me, Jason Ratcliffe said, I don't feel comfortable where we are points-wise. You look at how well Eric Jones is running. Some of these young guys could slip in there and get a win, and all of a sudden, we're out of the playoffs. So the 20 team definitely looks at these last 3 races of the regular season as must-wins.
Drivers up front clicking laps off on this little over half-mile racetrack. Just over 15 seconds for 1 lap here at Bristol.
And we showed what Kyle Busch has been able to do this week, starting in the back and working himself up to the front and winning both the Xfinity race as well as the truck race. Well, he started 18th tonight. He's already worked himself up to 12th spot.
We mentioned Clint Boyer riding along with him right on the visor, his helmet cam, giving us a great perspective of how difficult it is to see here at Bristol.
So what's so unique about Bristol, the track is so small, the corners are banked so high, the radius is so small around the corners that look what Clint Boyer cannot see. As he gets to the middle of the corner, you cannot see the front straightaway. Right now, the front straightaway is really the only time you can see. Battle for the lead.
Eric Jones has it. Kyle Larson trying to take it away. Kyle Larson won the race a week ago in Michigan. That was a 2-mile racetrack. This one, a half-mile bull ring. And because he moved up the racetrack, he lost a spot. So Kyle Larson trying to fight for that second spot, but Kenseth is going to take it away.
Well, that's the problem. If you try to make that move to the top and it doesn't work, Steve, then they just freight train you. It's like a restrictor plate race. You've lost a draft almost. Now you've given up the preferred line. You went to the top before the track was ready. You went from battling for the lead to racing for fourth.
Now we see Chase Elliott trying to work his way back forward. He had the
I'll tell you one car that's really on the move is the 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Had a terrible qualifying position where he qualified 31st, but he's already made it up to 19th, and he continues to move forward.
Yeah, we've talked all weekend about back in 04, he swept both races. Well, the Cup race that he won that year was all the way from the 30th starting position, Rick.
And so Dale Earnhardt Jr. in his final Bristol start, trying to go out with a bang. He would love to win at Bristol again. He only has one win here, and that was back in 2004 when he swept the Xfinity and the Cup Series race in the same weekend. Eric Jones looking for his first win in the Cup Series here at Bristol. Welcome back to Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Bristol Motor Speedway. You catch all the action of NASCAR on NBC with the NBC Sports app. Get closer with alternate camera angles, driver stats, and track information anytime, anywhere. 33 laps into the first stage, 125 lap stages, and Eric Jones back out front. Eric has led 32 of the 34 laps. Chase Elliott out front for the other 2 laps. Chase Elliott has dropped back to the 3rd spot. Kenseth holding on to 2nd. Kyle Larson, Martin Truex Jr. are the top 5. Parker.
Guys, we know how dangerous racing can be for the drivers, but how about the crew guys, specifically the crew chief? The crew chief, that 72 car, Frank Kerr for Cole Witt, was working underneath the car in first practice yesterday. When the car fell off the jack, it landed on his right side. It laid on him for 15 to 20 seconds when they were finally able to get off him, and he actually broke his right scapula, bruised his sternum and his ribs. He went to the hospital and wanted to come back to the track yesterday. They wouldn't let him, but he's here today on the box re-chiefing for Cole Witt, an old sprint car racer, actually in the Sprint Car Hall of Fame. He said, "I've broken plenty of bones. This is nothing."
That's toughness right there. One to come back after a car fell on top of you. How about this battle right here for 2nd place?
Look at the move there.
The line has clearly moved up the racetrack, and that's something you're going to see all night. Lap cars are going to play a role in this race. The lead lap cars are so much quicker. When they catch them, you're going to see them split them and try to go 3 wide.
And Jeff, this is a tough debate for the driver, isn't it? When you go to that high line, I know you kind of watch other cars, but Kyle Larson tried it a little while ago, did not work. He had to stay on the bottom. There he is on the bottom once again. You see Chase Elliott committed to that high line, but as a driver, when do you make that commitment to go to the top?
Well, the easiest time to do it is when no one's right behind you. We saw Kyle Larson try it earlier. It didn't work. Then it moved to the top, and now he wants to be on the top, but Chase Elliott's there, and there's just nowhere to go. So, you know, Chase Elliott's doing a great job running that top. Now Kyle Larson got a great run, is going to use his 33 car as a pick, and he'll clear him.
So Kyle Larson now has moved up into the 3rd spot. He'll chase down, or try to chase down, Matt Kenseth, who's running 2nd. Kenseth, Eric Jones, drivers who have to get a win if they want to be in the playoffs. Those guys fighting for everything right now in these early laps. Want to listen in also to the 48 radio of Jimmy Johnson starting near the back as well.
Right side damage. Two fenders are rubbing. Got nothing up here, no one behind you.
So Jimmy Johnson now running in the 11th position and had a little bit of right side damage. Jimmy Johnson actually started the race in 21st position, so he's made up 10 spots to get to 11. He was the winner here in April, one of the racetracks that NASCAR comes to twice a year. Kyle Larson closing in on the 20. But as you mentioned, the lap traffic is slowing down the progress.
Well, it's very hard for these lap cars at this moment in the race to decide what the preferred lane is to even give up, because the 77 and the 20 are 1st and 2nd place cars. They look like they want the bottom of the racetrack. But then the 42 of Kyle Larson, who's now battling with Matt Kenseth, he wanted the top of the racetrack. I don't think there's any lane that the lap cars can get out of the way.
What a run he had. Kyle Larson dove off of these high banks, was able to get to the inside of the 20 and easily clears him. He'll take 2nd. Was that a textbook pass right there, Jeff?
Oh, it's just a great move. It's understanding where the racetrack is right now. He'd been trying to get by Chase Elliott, and it just never worked. But he kept working it, finally made it work. Now he's running Eric Jones down pretty quickly.
We heard Jimmy Johnson talk about damage. Well, it ended up right here. We talked about the lap cars. He squeezes into turn 3, 3 wide with the 55 of Gray Galding, and was running out of real estate quickly. Had to move the 55 up so he could have a lane.
Here comes Chase Elliott looking to the inside of Kenseth. That's for third. And while they're battling side by side, Martin Truex Jr., teammate to Eric Jones, has now moved into contention, and Martin Truex Jr. running in the 5th spot.
Kyle Larson's going to try to turn off the top like that and get the run on the 77. He can accelerate harder, put the throttle down easier off the top of the racetrack. If you're going to run the upper lane, you have to be good on corner exit. Although right here, he just turns left and drives up underneath the 77, getting into turn 3.
Yeah, Eric Jones got loose getting into turn 3. Just couldn't hold the car on the bottom of the racetrack. Kyle Larson slid right by.
Kyle Larson in front of the field at Bristol. So momentum from a week ago, the win at Michigan, has continued to Bristol Motor Speedway. Kyle Larson, he can run high, he can run low. He's run by everybody on the track. Larson leading at Bristol. And the caution has just come out. The 43 of Eric Almirola looked as though the right front tire may have gone down, got right up next to the wall if he didn't get into the wall. And very slow on the racetrack. Let's take another look at what just happened.
He's right in the middle of the corner and
sparking already, so I don't wonder if the right front wasn't down on corner entry. And then right here, everyone's just trying to avoid him as he comes back into the middle of the track.
Underway here at Bristol. That's Chase Elliott, who said that he was free in and had trouble rotating across the center, especially up top. 4-tire stop for Chase Elliott.
Leader Kyle Larson leads the first pit stall on the backstretch. Kelly, he said his car was too tight up top. 4 tires for him. He said in the middle, just no grip, Parker.
78 car Martin Truex Jr. is up to 4th right now, tight in the center, and talking about how the front tires go away too quickly. Sunoco fuel and tires, Dave.
See the 22 of Joey Logano in the middle there. 4 tires and Sunoco fuel for him. His car would not turn well. For Eric Jones, it had no rear security, whether he was high or low. Bad handling race car.
And the race off pit road brought to you by Kroger Click List. Making the move up, Kyle Larson, Eric Jones, Martin Truex Jr. Intense racing already, and the sun hasn't even set on Bristol Motor Speedway. 66 laps into the first stage of 125 laps. Out front, Kyle Larson and Eric Jones making up row 1. Kyle Larson has chosen the outside line. Eric Jones will restart on the inside. Martin Truex Jr. and Chase Elliott in row 2. Row 3, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, and Denny Hamlin making up row 4. Coming out of turn 4, green flag back in the air. For the lead. Oh, and 24 of Chase Elliott got loose. Had to tuck in behind the 42 of Kyle Larson. And lost a lot of momentum. Here comes the 18 of Kyle Busch. Cars diving for the bottom of the racetrack now. Larson, Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, Eric Jones, Denny Hamlin, the top 5.
You see already early after a restart, the bottom is where you want to be. Track just has more grip. Tires are fresh. Tires have the most amount of grip, and the bottom of the racetrack seems to be the best right now.
A little housekeeping too, Rick. We mentioned Brad Keselowski. We saw his problems earlier. He went 4 laps down. Well, between passing the leader on the racetrack and staying out under this yellow, he's fought all the way back to only 2 laps down.
Look at how quickly they turn a lap at Bristol Motor Speedway. Kyle Larson has about 3 car lengths over second place Chase Elliott. Kyle Busch trying that high line once again, seeing if he can get the momentum and get by Eric Jones. Eric Jones has been able to take away that 3rd spot from Kyle Busch, and Kyle searching around, trying to find some grip somewhere around this racetrack. Looking back from Matt Kenseth, Toyota onboard.
This is a great view to show you how they work around the corner.
Matt Kenseth, the driver, needs to get to victory lane. Knows that he won't be back with Joe Gibbs Racing next year. Looking for a ride and looking for a way into the playoffs. Want to check in with Otto Bolden. How's the sound down there, Audio?
You mean up there? I'm up here with the spotters. I think I have one of the best views in the entire building, but I was laughing at the spotters. Look at how much their heads are on swivels until I started trying to follow one car, the leader, and I realized it's almost like watching a tennis match up here. I'm like this the whole time. So difficult place to look at it from, but wow, what a great view. The sound is no different up here, still loud as heck.
Yeah, and Otto, the reason the spotters are so important here is because things happen so quickly, but also when we see that upper groove get worked in and two cars are side by side, when you're on the bottom and a car's on the outside of you and he's out by the wall and you're on the very bottom of the racetrack, you can't see him. You have no idea where he is until he's either way ahead of you or way behind you. The spotters got to be giving you that information.
I want to listen in as we're talking about spotters to the spotter communication from the 14 car of Clint Boyer. Hands full there for Clint Boyer. That was spotter coverage presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance, helping drivers worry less.
Oh man, nice save right there.
Exactly.
Well, that little bit of acknowledgement from the spotter, that's real important because the team can't see that. So when the spotter says, hey, nice job, that means, hey, man, they're in here with me. You know what I mean? And that matters because when you're driving this race car, you're in here all by yourself. The only person you have to communicate with, that spotter can talk to you, give you a little bit of encouragement, and little things like that go a long way in a long race.
Let's take a look at the helmet cam of when he just got loose moments ago.
Watch his hands. Watch how quick this steering wheel is going to move. In the throttle, trying to get a run. Look how far that steering wheel was to the right. That's about as far as you can get. You physically think about when your right hand goes as far, your left hand goes as far as his went, it can't go much further to the right. Physically, it just won't go much further.
And that was the Ford Performance on board that we were able to enjoy with Clint Boyer. Clint didn't enjoy it that much, but as the spotter mentioned, great save. Still out front, it's Kyle Larson. He has a 1.7 second lead now over Chase Elliott. Eric Jones, Kyle Busch, and Matt Kenseth in the top 5. Dave.
Pole sitter Eric Jones described his car this way before the stop.
Got no rear security. It's just pretty awful. The second I get out of the VHD on the bottom, I get on the straightaway, it lights the tires up, and then running the top, I just don't have anything in the back to lean on, but I'm tight with the front. I don't know what to tell you about that.
And I called it an ill-handling race car, but of course that was in the top 3 cars. So a pretty good car for Eric, but he wanted adjustments. They made some on that stop. We'll see if they pay off. Marty?
Dave, Kyle Busch in the 18 car started 18th tonight, made his way up to 6th in that first run, then told the guys, hey, I'm way too tight. The car just will not turn. I cannot go any further. I feel like I'm abusing the front tires, even though he's been committed to that high line all evening long. But on this run, very consistent and consistently the fastest car as well, trying to sneak past Eric Jones and Chase Elliott. The 18 car might get the victory lane again at Bristol this weekend, Rick.
And we've heard the drivers talking about VHT, PJ1. That is the traction compound that's been put at the bottom of the racetrack. Kyle Larson out front. NASCAR Drive, it's NASCAR.com's live race day companion, now available on your mobile device. Select your favorite camera angle or driver with an in-car video. You can even watch multiple angles at once. Never miss a lap with NASCAR Drive. Visit NASCAR.com/drive from your PC, tablet, or mobile device. Riding along with Kevin Harvick and the Busch onboard camera.
This has been a nice drive for Kevin Harvick. Had to start considerably far back for Kevin Harvick. Normally we see him in the last round of qualifying. He didn't even come into the second round, started outside the top 25. But Kelly, he's done a really nice job picking and choosing his positions through traffic.
Well, obviously they had a miserable qualifying, but this is another team that was really happy with their car in race trim. He won this race a year ago, and I asked Rodney Childress and Kurtzy how much they took away from that race to apply to this one. He said actually quite a lot of it. He said, we've darn near had the same thing at this track for the last 4 or 5 races, and we could have won 4 or 5 of them. We've only got the one win to show for it, but it's always a good one to have when you win a Bristol night race. Kevin Harvick definitely moving forward tonight.
And again, the battle for the lead not heating up as much as Kyle Busch would like it to, as Kyle Larson is out front. We take a look at who's on the move, brought to you by Chevrolet. Casey Kane started 39th, now 22nd. He's moved up 17 spots. Kyle Busch started 18th, now running second, 16 spots for him. Marty.
And Kyle Busch is cutting into that lead slowly but surely of Kyle Larson's. And you know, one thing Kyle Busch does not have a problem with here at Bristol, leading laps, running up front. One thing he does have a problem with, speeding on pit road, and especially in one section, section 4. It's bugaboo for him for years. And so what he told Adam Siemens was, listen, let's pick a stall in section 4 this time around. He got a speeding penalty Wednesday in the Truck Series race, last night in the Xfinity Series race in the same section. The theory, Steve, if we pick a pit stall in that section, we won't get a speeding penalty in that section, and it shouldn't be an issue for us. So do you think that will solve the issues of speeding on pit road at Bristol for Kyle Busch, Steve?
Well, it will solve the issue with segment 4. Unfortunately for Kyle Busch, there's multiple segments all the way around this pit road. 12 other segments he could speed in. So I don't disagree with that. Sometimes there's a segment, either it could perhaps be a little downhill, maybe the lines aren't quite as parallel as you think they are versus NASCAR, and sometimes just drivers, you know, that's kind of the end of the backstretch. Maybe he's starting to turn left and doesn't go straight through it. So, you know, there's a lot of speeding penalty here at Bristol, and that's one way to eliminate at least one section.
Kyle Larson, pretty blistering pace as he now has just 28 cars on the lead lap. 29th, Matt DiBenedetto running 1 lap down in 29th. Parker.
Guys, one car that surprised me in this stage is that car, the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. He's been all over the racetrack, and predominantly in his career, he likes to be on the bottom, but that car has not been working on the bottom as he'd like. He's fallen from 6th or 4th at the start of this restart all the way back to 9th, and he's just searching right now. The car's too tight in the center, off exit, so he can't get the turn, and he's really looking all over the racetrack, but what he's found is that the top of the racetrack has not come in. He's forced on the bottom right now, and that car is just not working for him.
Parker battle for the lead as Kyle Busch has caught Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson now trying to negotiate through the lap traffic. 13 laps to go in stage 1.
So how loose Kyle Busch was underneath the 32 car. He just couldn't lay the throttle down, and as soon as Larson caught this pack of lap cars, that helped Kyle Busch catch him. See who can get to him the best.
And he's still closing in. Battle for third also heating up. Elliott and Eric Jones. Kyle Larson trying to stay in front of Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch continues to set him up. Kyle Busch now on the outside. He'll take the lead as they split the two of Brad Keselowski. Now Kyle Busch will have to negotiate by the 95 if he wants to hang on to the lead.
It's a race to the lap traffic. Who can get to them first and be in the preferred lane?
Well, the preferred lane is whatever lane the lap traffic's not in. Right here, the 42 is going to try to stay underneath the 18. See there, Rick? He was barely underneath them, but he could take the bottom of the racetrack.
Kyle Busch still out front. A lot thought that the Cup race, there was no way he could get up to the front this quickly. He has been able to move his way up from 19th all the way to the lead with just 9 laps to go.
Larson trying that move off of turn 4. Can he trap him behind the lap car? Yes, he does.
So Larson back out front. They still are having a hard time getting by the 95 of Michael McDowell.
We've seen Kyle Larson use that move twice now to gain position. Real high. What a block.
I was going to say, I thought he was getting ready to get spun out. He came to the bottom and took the lane away from the 18. The 18 gave him a little shot.
Well, it's a good thing it's lap 118.
Exactly.
On lap 450, that won't be as polite.
So Kyle Busch has dropped back to second. Kyle Larson back in front.
That was 6 to go. Kyle Busch just have to figure out a way to mount a charge. You see what he's doing now. He's entering high up and turning down on exit. So Kyle Larson sees that. He tries to take the line away. Even at this short half mile, these drivers do a great job of driving out of their mirror as well.
Dives to the bottom of the racetrack. Kyle Busch trying to take the lead away from Larson again. Larson powers by on the outside.
Options. There are just so many options for these drivers. Different ways to go through the corner.
Wow. Kyle Larson got a big run off 4. Knew if he didn't turn down in front of Kyle Busch, he would get caught behind the lap traffic.
4 laps to go. Remember, a playoff point on the line if you can win the stage. Now across the finish line, 3 laps to go in this stage. A bumper separating the top 2. Kyle Larson. Now Busch to the inside again for the lead.
Busch has got to try to time that right. If he can't clear him here, he needs to back up and try to time that pass off of turn 4 coming to get the checkered flag.
Yeah, he's going to try to pull what we like to call a slide job, which is to enter the bottom but slide up in front of the 42, but the 42 wouldn't let him up right there on the exit of 2.
Almost had him.
Coming up on 1 lap to go in this stage. One more time around. Oh, a little bump there. Larson moves up the racetrack. Kyle Busch takes the lead away. Contact was made. Down the backstretch they go for the final time in this stage. A lot of congestion they're fighting for. And Kyle Busch coming out of 4, he'll win stage 1.
Eric Jones will finish second. Kyle Larson got stuck in traffic, but you mentioned it, Jeff. Kyle Busch was polite the first time they tried to block the bottom, but the second time, he didn't have it. He knew he wasn't going to wreck the 42, but he put just enough pressure on him on corner entry to move him up the racetrack and take the position for the stage win.
Blocking's legal in NASCAR, but it doesn't mean they can't knock you out of the way.
Already some bumping going on. Kyle Busch gets stage 1. He is the winner of stage 1 in this, the Bass Pro Shops NRA night race. And definitely not disappointing in stage 1. Bumping and banging already. Kyle Busch beats Kyle Larson to the line. Welcome back. It looks like Colossus is floating above the infield here at Bristol Motor Speedway. That's the big screen right in the middle of this last great Coliseum. Let's go to Kelly.
Chase Elliott back on pit road. He said he was okay for a little while. The looseness is going away on entry, but he's tight on exit. They're going to make a chassis adjustment to the right rear, pull some tape for the new tire, Sunoco fuel.
What a fun battle between Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson. Kyle Busch said he gets tighter the longer he runs. The opposite for Kyle Larson and his car. He said, I get too free the further I go. In fact, he said, I don't know how the 18 is doing what he's doing in a very tight race off this backstretch pit road. You see it 3 wide there, Parker. Dave?
7th place, Ryan Blaney in the 21 car coming down now. He'll get 4 tires and fuel. He made a little progress that time. They're going to reverse an adjustment they made earlier. As for the 2nd place runner, the 77 of Eric Jones, much better, still just a little bit loose, making progress on the pole sitters race car. As they come down pit road, who'll be first off, Rick?
Well, the race off pit road brought to you by NASCAR Heat 2 video game. Eric Jones wins the race off pit road. NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Ford. We go further so you can. Lilly Diabetes, the official diabetes health partner of NASCAR. And by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Within a 2-mile radius of Bristol Motor Speedway, they estimate nearly 50 to 60,000 campers. And the population of Bristol, Tennessee, just 27,000. Let's take a look at the stage results presented by Ford Performance. 10 points going to Kyle Busch, and of course 1 playoff point for winning that stage. Kyle Busch, though, not the firing off of pit road that he was hoping for.
Well, Bristol offers a lot of challenges, not only on the racetrack, but on pit road. Remember, all these cars pitted on the back straightaway. Well, they have to go around on the apron. It's a smaller radius. Have to change their RPMs not to get caught speeding. Kyle Busch, very conservative, through the radius of 3 and 4, gave up 4 spots right there.
Marty.
And Jeff, you can see those cars actually passing him, and you go, well, how could that happen? Well, remember we told you earlier about all the speeding penalty problems they've had here at Bristol. So tonight they intentionally kind of dialed their tack back, Steve, and you can explain that a little bit to make sure they didn't speed on pit road. They felt like a speeding penalty here in 2015 cost them a shot to win. They didn't want to have that tonight.
Yeah, what Marty's talking about is these cars don't have speedometers. They have to use RPM, calculate the speed, so they're just a little conservative to make sure they don't have a penalty.
Field coming into the Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air.
Well, it didn't take Kyle Busch long to overcome that. Already in third.
That shows you how good that 18 car is. He entered the middle of the racetrack but turned down underneath the 11 on corner exit.
And a big win for Eric Jones and his team. They struggled on pit road earlier this year. To have a pit stop in this race to get them the lead, that's a big win for that team.
Marty.
Hey, Rick, we talked about that pit stop for Kyle Busch and his team not wasting any time coming back up through the field. Here's what they had to say on the radio after that stop.
That's an awesome pit stop there, boys. Good grief for that, buddy. Not going to win much unless we can step it up in here. Only one of these laps has mattered so far, and we led that one. We'll get back up there. Yep.
So he came in first, out 6, but already up to second. So they know they have a fast race car. Got to do a better job on pit road, and I think they'll also be a little more aggressive on that tack when they go through that edge of 3 and 4 as well.
Well, the one thing he doesn't want to do is get a speeding penalty and get put to the back of the pack. Right now, 26 cars on the lead lap. Michael McDowell running 26, the last car on the lead lap. We see Kyle Larson shooting off the turn. Riding along with Kevin Harvick. Harvick right now in the 6th position. So it's Eric Jones, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, Martin Truex Jr. all in the top 5. Then Harvick, Kenseth, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, Jimmy Johnson in the top 10.
Yeah, we've made a lot about the speed in Eric Jones and Kyle Busch's automobile, but this 4 of Kevin Harvick, remember, he's up 22 spots. He started all the way outside the top 25, so I think that this 4 car is much better than people have been able to see so far. Once he gets up to the front, we may end up seeing just how much speed Kevin Harvick has.
And Rick, what do you need to be able to do? Go fast at Bristol? Be able to be smooth. Make time being smooth. Look at Kevin Harvick's hands. Hardly any wheel input to the right. Just moving the wheel to the left. Looks very stable. Looks very secure. You have a car like that at Bristol that also makes lap time. You can be very dangerous.
Kevin Harvick familiar with winning. He won this race last year. And just in front of him is Kyle Larson, and this is the communication between spotter, crew chief, and driver just after the end of stage 1.
He keeps this up, I'm going to need more batteries. Yeah, 10-4. Sounds like everybody's getting tight as they go. 10-4. I mean, he doesn't look bad up top. It's just he gets bound down just enough in the center that he can't get up there and committed early enough on exit.
So all of these teams, Rick, they run 2 radio frequencies. I'm sure that's on the second frequency. That's a conversation between the spotter and the crew chief about what he sees the 42 of Kyle Larson handling light on the racetrack.
Again, that was the spotter coverage presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance, helping drivers worry less. Kyle Larson trying to keep the momentum alive. He already has 3 wins this season. Trails only Martin Truex Jr. as far as total wins for the 2017 campaign. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the 17, just to the outside of that 48 of Jimmy Johnson.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he jumped up on this outside lane early in this run. Perhaps one of the earliest ones to jump up on the outside, and it's made it work. He's gotten about 3 spots in the last 4 laps. And now they're going to have to follow him. When you see a guy do that, Jimmy Johnson's like, hey, I just saw what he did. Now I've got to move to the top.
Hey, Jeff, what does that make you think of? The transition point that a lot of these drivers were talking about with that sticky stuff on the bottom. When does it wear off, and when do you have to go to the top? When does it start in the race to feel like the top is the predominant line? And I think right there, you see the 48, the 22, and the other car there follow the car in front of them up to the top. That's that transition point they were looking for.
It is, Parker. factor, and it's different from one car to the next. One car may be too loose early in the run to jump up on the top. One car may be tight, and the top helps that car. So you tend to follow other cars when they go up and they start having success, but that doesn't necessarily mean that your car is ready to go in the high lane.
Just because it works for one doesn't mean it works for all.
And Steve, you've been with different drivers. Some drivers are better on the top than they are on the bottom. Some drivers, the rhythm of running to the top suits their driving style, and some people it doesn't.
Yeah, because if you're going to run the top, as we ride on board with Clint Boyer, listen to how he does it. If he's going to run the top, he lifts earlier than the 22. 22 beats him in the middle of the corner. But then Clint Boyer has to be back to the throttle hard, and one time you have got to drive off the top of the corner with more aggression. That comes down to comfort and car handling. This is a nice move right here, though, as he turns early and underneath the 22, gets position, but now he has to try to complete that pass, and it looks like he'll do it here on corner exit.
Has the 22 cleared. Clint Boyer now moves up to 13th, but might give the spot back now as Logano tries the inside, the crossover move.
Clint Boyer knows at that point that all he has to do is be clean on the corner exit. Make sure he doesn't get loose. Joey Logano's not going to be able to make a run on the bottom right now and beat him. So you have to drive your car sometimes defensively, and sometimes you have to drive it on full offense.
Those two fighting for the 13th spot. Eric Jones out in front at Bristol.
Win the King's car. Now through October 3rd, hustle over to any participating stores, grab some Smithfield, Nathans, or Eckrich products, and get entered to win a replica of the King's iconic 1970 Superbird. For details, go to wintheking.com.
Battle for the lead. Here comes Kyle Busch. Moving to the outside of Eric Jones. Kyle Busch trying to get back out front. He won stage one. He won the Camping World Truck Series race on Wednesday. He won the Xfinity Series race last night, and now trying to complete the sweep for a second time. He's the only driver who's ever been able to do it, and he's looking to do it for a second time.
You see Eric Jones, he's still committed to running the bottom. Even as he saw Kyle Busch making a run on the top, Eric stayed committed to the bottom and didn't try to chase him. Now he's starting to run up. So we're on lap 43 of this stage. 43 laps where Eric Jones went to the top.
Right now there are 3 Toyotas running up front. Let's take a look at the Toyota driver update. Kyle Busch, Eric Jones, Denny Hamlin, 1, 2, 3. Kenseth and Truex Jr. also in the top 10. Marty.
And Rick, you talk about the triple header sweep Kyle Busch is trying to pull off. It's his last shot to do it in 2017. Why? Because that was his last truck race of 2017 on Wednesday night, which he won, and he won last night in the Xfinity Series. Also, as a note, on that last pit stop, they did have a problem on the left rear for the 18 as well, so that compounded the issues with the slowness on pit road as well. But the 18 clearly fast, Dave.
So his quasi-teammate, the 77 of Eric Jones, he grew up racing on tracks that were a lot like this, a half-mile in length, high banks. Of course, this one is very unique. But as Eric races this, he has a mentality, his crew chief Chris Gale told me, that is all about short tracks. He said, this place is easier to drive than Michigan. He told Chris that. That's because it's reactive and instinctive versus having time to think between those 215-mile-an-hour corners. Entry at Michigan, Rick.
We mentioned the fact that Kyle Busch is the only driver to ever do the triple, the sweep of a weekend for the Camping World Truck Series. Back in 2010 it happened. He was able to win the Truck Series race. Then the weekend right in the middle was the Xfinity Series race, and he ended up in victory lane in the Cup Series as well. He and his brother Kurt, the only 2 drivers currently with 5 wins at Bristol. They are the winningest active drivers right now in Bristol Motor Speedway.
With 325 laps to go, though, I don't think anyone's ready to give Kyle Busch the trophy. While he has gone to victory lane this year, it has been many, many less times than he's had a great race car. There's probably 5, 6, 7 races that easily he was the car that could have or should have won the race. But there's been a multitude of reasons that have kept the 18 at a victory lane at different racetracks, whether it's restarts, on pit road, mistakes, bad luck. This is not the racetrack that you want to start counting anything before the race is over.
Yeah, Eric Jones is running back down right here. And also behind this group, right there, you see Kyle Larson coming in the picture also. So not sure if Kyle Busch's car is starting to go away a little bit, but Eric is running back down. It actually looks like he may pass it.
For the lead, Eric Jones looking on the inside. Kyle's going to stay up top. He'll get blocked by the 2 of Brad Keselowski. Now Keselowski comes down the racetrack. Brad Keselowski early on with a tire issue. He came to pit road. He has scored 4 laps down. 25 cars on the lead lap. Paul Menard is the final car that's on the lead lap as Eric Jones has taken the lead away from Kyle Busch. And so once again, Eric Jones out in front. He's led 87 laps already.
Think about this young man in the 77, Rick. So much conversation about Matt Kenseth, Clint Bowyer, Joey Logano. Joey Logano really for the last 3 weeks about needing a win, I think we all perhaps overlooked this rookie in the 77. Very easy to do with his teammate of Martin Truex Jr. being so fast, Jeff, but consistent runs, consistent improvement, and coming here, sitting on the pole, and now leading 88 laps so far tonight is really making a statement.
Well, Michigan last week ran second, had a chance to win that race. He's starting to come into his own, starting to get into the rhythm of running a full Cup Series. That's difficult to do. The competition is harder than you ever can imagine at this level. The year is longer than you ever can imagine. Strength at the right time of the year. If he wins this race, the playoff picture completely is upside down.
And Eric Jones at 21 years old, this last year has been a roller coaster ride of emotions. His father Dave passed away of cancer just last year. Dave was his biggest fan, his biggest supporter, and now with his father gone, Eric Jones looking for that first win in the Cup Series. Could it happen at Bristol Motor Speedway tonight? Marty.
Well, Rick, Jeff was wondering about the 18 car of Kyle Busch. I know in the first 2 runs, Jeff, they got tighter the longer they ran. They were out there about 5 or 6 laps, and Kyle said, hey, Adam, the adjustments you made helped it a little bit, but not enough. So I'm assuming that's the direction the car has gone once again. Too tight for Kyle Busch.
So now, Steve, if he's too tight later in the run, what are you going to do? You're going to start freeing up. What's the negative to that?
Yeah, it's going to hurt on restarts, right? If you are already starting free and building tight, to help it in the long run, there is a penalty on the front of that run. Although their restarts are probably the strength of Kyle Busch, what makes him so good at it is he sets a car up that can run early on new tires.
And so Eric Jones out in front. I mentioned how big his dad was involved. His dad actually sold a classic Corvette when he was young just so that Eric could keep racing. Eric recently bought that very classic Corvette back. Looking down on Bristol Motor Speedway, aerial coverage provided by our partners at Smithfield Foods. And a battle for the lead continuing. Eric Jones, Kyle Busch. Busch on the outside. He'll take the lead away from Jones.
Yeah, Eric Jones was committed to running the bottom of the racetrack. Well, that's what the 27 of Paul Menard was committed to running, and he was not moving off the bottom. The 77 even gave him a little shot one time on corner entry, but it didn't move the 27 out of the way, allowed the 18 to get a run on the top side of the racetrack.
But Paul Menard's racing to stay in the lead lap. That puts him 1 lap down.
So Dale Earnhardt Jr., the last car on the lead lap now, running 23rd. He had moved up, but kind of stalled around 18th as we see slowing is the 17 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and the caution will come out. Third caution of the night. The lettering worn off of the right side of the 17 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He's made some contact.
He was running ninth. Yeah, Rick, running ninth. I was going to say, have a great night running inside the top 10 most of the night. He's running up high. It almost looks like the tire goes down right there in the middle of the corner.
Yeah, right there.
Well, we've seen a couple. The 43, I think, melted a couple of beads on the right front tire, which basically just means that the brake heat has damaged the tire enough that the air comes out. I'm not sure if that's exactly what happened on the 17, but a long ways into a green flag run, 66 laps right there, that's when you would start to see perhaps that brake heat affecting the tire.
49 laps away from the end of the stage. The free pass goes to the 27 of Paul Menard. Pretty big break for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He was about to go a lap down.
And that's why I know fans all the time like, why don't they just get out of the way? Well, Paul Menard racing that hard, that's the free pass. Had he just slowed up, they may have gotten to Junior and got him a lap down. Now you don't get that free pass.
You can get NASCAR coverage when you're on the go with NASCAR Mobile. The official app of NASCAR puts race coverage and live in-car cameras right at your fingertips. You can even listen to drivers and teams discuss race strategy. Download for free at NASCAR.com/mobile. Kelly, here they come.
And Kevin Harvick, who had worked his way into the top 5, saying that his car is just too tight to run along the bottom. It's going to be a 4-tire stop for Kevin Harvick. 4 Goodyears are going to make an air pressure adjustment as well, Marty.
Kelly, as Kyle Busch was taking the lead, he was saying, I have a vibration as well. So this car is just way too tight. Same story for Kyle Larson. Now he's too tight. Wedge and air pressure adjustment for him. And Rick, you're right. That was a huge break for Dale Earnhardt Jr. They were about to pit because he thought he had a tire going down as well, Parker.
And Martin Truex Jr. comes out of 6th place. Just been hanging out in the top 10. They're going to do 4 tires, an air pressure adjustment, and a little bit of wedge in the 78 car. Really struggling to get that thing turns and feels like he's struggling most in 1 and 2, Dave.
Second place, Eric Jones cannot run the top of the racetrack. He can run the bottom. They need both. So they're going to tune for the top, and even if it goes bad, they can undo that later, according to the crew chief.
Race off pit road. The top 2 are going to hold on to their positions. We'll reset when we come back. NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Chevrolet, the most awarded car company 2 years in a row. Subway restaurants. And by Liberty Mutual Insurance, helping drivers worry less on the track and on the road. And Jeff, a lot of strategy being played on pit road, but maybe more trying to come off of pit road.
Well, track position, the battle for it starts early, even on pit road. So pay real close attention to Denny Hamlin as he moves down pit road. He is fighting hard, doing his best to get the lane that he wants. So they all start rolling down. Look at him stop. He's wanting people to pass him. He wants the outside on the restart.
He didn't get it.
He didn't get it.
He's on the inside as the field now approaching the Geico restart zone. The 78 of Martin Truex Jr. came back to pit road. They must have an issue. He would have restarted 5th. Back underway. Kyle Larson in the 42 all the way up against the wall on the restart.
And you already see why Denny Hamlin wanted to start on the outside as he loses positions and going to lose another one to the 24 of Chase Elliott.
Just a quick update on the 78. You saw him come down pit road before the green. He had a loose right rear wheel. He felt it under the caution. Came down in. They changed just right sides, and he went 1 lap down there. Might be able to get back from a lap, having only gone 1 lap down.
Unfortunate for the 78 team, Martin Truex Jr. But he has a possibility of clinching the regular season point standings after this race.
But what a smart move. If you go ahead and drop the green flag and you have it and you have to come in, you're going to lose at least 2 laps, maybe 3. It's a huge difference here versus being 1 lap down and 2 laps down.
Guess what, Jeff? Penalty on pit road.
Well, you're going to pit on the green anyway.
A tire violation for the 78, so he is going to have to come back to pit road. He's doing it now. He'll probably lose at least 3 laps because of this.
Yeah, and the problem is once you get more than 1 down, it becomes so much more difficult to get them back.
Outside tire violation was,
which basically, Rick, just means that after you take the tires off, you have to get them back to pit wall. It's a safety concern for NASCAR. That's what that means by an outside tire violation. Sounds complicated, but basically bring the tires back to pit wall.
Kenseth makes his move. He's up to 2nd now, and he'll give chase to Kyle Busch, who's out front.
We're starting to see Matt Kenseth at the front of these races for about the last 6 to 7 weeks. He has been in position to win many races. Do not count him out for winning not only this race, but more races in the future.
Matt Kenseth wants to secure a spot in the playoffs at season's end. Right along, looking back from Chase Elliott and the Chevrolet onboard to Kyle Larson, who Larson now running 5th, who was up in the 2nd position, ran that high line early and has fallen back to the 5th spot. Kyle Busch, Matt Kenseth. Eric Jones, Chase Elliott, and Kyle Larson, top 5.
And Rick, see how the cars have migrated back to the bottom of the racetrack. I don't think that the line from bottom to top moves as the race wears on. I think the line from bottom to top moves as the tires wear. I think when they're brand new for the first 10, 20, 25 lap, Jeff, you can just continue to fire around the bottom of the racetrack. But there's this point, and it's different for every car. Some cars need to move up at lap 20, others at lap 30. We heard Dave report on the pit stops that the 77 of Eric Jones didn't feel like he could run the top at all, so they made big adjustments.
A little further back in the pack, Dale Jr., he's all the way back to 22nd. Well, he tried to go to the top, and it just wasn't ready. Got way up against the wall, had to really check up big time, and when he did, a lot of cars got by him. So trying to make that top line work just a little bit too early.
He was 17th, and now, as you mentioned, his fall back to 22nd. A.J. Allmendinger with problems, and things happen very quickly here at Bristol. Smoke rolling out from underneath the 47. He was 21st. Now he tries to get to the bottom of the track. Look at all the smoke inside the car.
Yeah, it looks like the left rear tire is rubbing on something. All the lettering on the Goodyear is gone. I'm not sure if it's just the sheet metal pushed in or if the suspension itself has failed, allowing that tire to move around. We'll see what kind of repairs they make on the pit stop. Here's kind of the replay on corner exit. Oh, here you go. It's definitely the sheet metal. He comes down the corner in front of, I believe that's the 37. It's kind of hard to see from that angle of Chris Buescher. Basically pushes that sheet metal in, instantly rubbing on the tire.
Makes the Monday morning meeting a little difficult when you have contact with your teammate.
And Chase Elliott just in front of Kyle Larson. Again, Larson falling back to 5th, trying to get that 4th spot back from Chase Elliott. Kyle Busch holding on to the lead. Matt Kenseth running in 2nd. Eric Jones, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson all in the top 5 here in Thunder Valley. Big accident between Austin Dillon and Jeffrey Earnhardt just moments ago here at Bristol Motor Speedway. A lot of damage to both the 3 and the 33.
Here you go. You see Austin Dillon dives to the bottom of the racetrack and just spins out. He had to have a tire go down or something break on that race car. For that car to spin around as quickly as it did, that wasn't just being loose and not being able to collect it. Something happened.
But that's Thunder Valley. Things happen, and they happen in a hurry. Jeffrey Earnhardt nowhere to go, running the top, entering the corner well over 115 miles an hour. Next thing you know, the 3 slides right up in front of you. Heavy contact.
Now look how fast the 3 car spins around. It wasn't small, a slow spin. It just whipped around.
And again, once they go behind the wall, unless it's mechanical, their night is done. We see the 3 of Austin Dillon, the hood already up on that, and that was big damage to both the 3 and the 33. So it's the 4th caution that's come out, and we see Austin Dillon is out of the car. Once you climb out of the car, they have to go to the infield care center to be checked out.
So Rick, this is the first time that these drivers are going to have an option. There's only 17 laps to go in this stage, so you know you are only running a handful of laps until a guaranteed another yellow flag. Basically what that means is, do you pit or do you stay out? They have 25 laps on their tires, so the leaders may come in and get some fresh tires, but someone back in the pack might stay out, think they can hold those fresh tires off for just 17 laps, get some points, maybe get a stage win. So this is really the first time all night we've seen kind of a split in strategy.
Let's listen in to Kyle Busch and what they're doing on the radio and what they're thinking about here.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying if you want to go farther on adjustments, keep digging. If you just want to see what it's like for a set of tires, then just set of tires on it. We could go either way here. I know we can get the segment point if we stay.
So basically what Adam Stevens, Kyle Busch's crew chief, was saying is we could go either way. We could pit, we could stay out. And he said, I think if we stay on the racetrack, Marty, we could win this stage and get that playoff point.
Well, and that's the debate. Do you go for the 1 playoff point, or do you go for the bigger picture, the 5 playoff points at the end of the evening? Adam Stevens and Kyle Busch still debating this, and I think a moment ago they were going to stay out. Then they decided they were going to pit. Now they're back to staying out, and now Adam Stevens telling Tony Hirschman, the spotter, right now, tell me when it's open, we'll make a last-second call. So these are the debates, Steve, and that's why you crew chiefs get paid a lot of money.
I just want that someone to not do what the 18 does. It seems like a lot of cars in the middle of the pack play follow the leader. I think this is an opportunity, Jeff, to do the opposite. Whatever the 18 does, just do the opposite and see if it works out.
100%. Try something different. Try to make something happen. This is going to be a lengthy cleanup. You see at the top of the screen, truck's still putting Speedy Dry down on the racetrack.
They're cleaning up. That means we'll take a quick break. Be back for pit stops if they happen. You're watching Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Bristol Motor Speedway. Welcome back into Thunder Valley as you gear up with the pit crew and get the latest NASCAR t-shirts, hats, die-cast at the NASCAR shop. Visit NASCAR.com/shop for all your favorite drivers' gear. And cleaning up continuing. This is just the fourth caution, but what a great evening it is. Saturday night racing, and this crowd, what a treat they are receiving. It's been phenomenal. The racing, the different lines, the bumping and banging, it's what everybody expects when they come to Bristol. And
an unbelievable experience being in the infield, the pre-race. This is one of those facilities you can feel the fans, the noise, the excitement. The grandstands almost vibrate here. It is so much fun to be at this racetrack.
Oh, it's a spectacle. Just being around the facility all day. It seems like the energy continued to build. It started before lunch. People were outside, grilling out, camping out. You mentioned all those campers. And then as it got later in the day, the anticipation of the night race.
Casey Kane and the 5, he didn't escape damage. The right front, quite a bit of damage to that car, and look what happened.
Yeah, you see the 3 comes up, the 33 makes that heavy contact, but look back at the top of your screen there, the 5 of Casey Kane. This is what we say, right, Jeff? It happens in a hurry. Well, he was committed to the top of the racetrack, running right behind the 23 there of Joey Gase, and just couldn't get slowed down. Made contact with the 23 and the wall.
And remember the view from Clint Boyer's helmet cam. How when you drive into turn 3 or turn 1, you can't see turn 4. So it's so difficult. Something happens on the exit of the corner. You're driving in the corner. You can't see it. Next thing you know, they're all checking up in front of you, and you don't get checked up.
Decision time, Rick. Decision time. Do you pit? Do you take tires? Do you stay out for the stage finish? 18 pits. Matt Kenseth stays out.
So Kenseth's going to stay out. Eric Jones followed, as well as Kyle Larson. Marty.
And to his word, Adam Stevens made a very last-second call, said, come on down, bring it to me. So they're going to go 4 tires here. I think their thought is, let's get the track position now or take our tires now, and then when everybody else pits later, we'll have the track position we need. Kyle said the car, a lot better that run for him. Kyle Larson, meanwhile, said his car was extremely loose on that run. 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel, and an air pressure adjustment trying to tighten up that 42 car. Dave?
Marty, Ryan Blaney was concerned about damage on the right front fender, so the guy that works in the back of the car is going to help out on the front. Fueler Andrew Lackey will first go to the right front fender with his fueling apron on, and then he'll run to the back of the car and give him the Sunoco fuel he needs. There he goes. He actually carried the tire across there. Now he goes across and works on fueling the car. The 77 of Eric Jones is in as well. He's off with 4 tires and fuel.
And we saw the race off of pit road. Kyle Busch able to hold on to that top spot, but we mentioned some cars staying out.
But I like Adam Stevens' call. As Marty Snyder reported, basically he knows that in 8 or 9 laps, these cars that stayed on the racetrack need to pit. So Kyle Busch in this instance is probably going to restart somewhere in the 8th to the 10th position. Just keep the fenders clean for 8 or 9 laps. Try to get to the finish of this stage cleanly. When those other cars pit, you'll resume being the leader of the race, and then you can race for the finish. That's what these stages do. These guaranteed yellows completely change how these cars run the race.
For our Subway Fresh Tank, let's check back in with Otto Bolden.
Yeah, guys, I'm down here outside of turn 4. I'm a little surprised at the lack of cautions despite this lengthy cleanup right now for this latest one. I'm surprised at the lack of cautions in tonight's race, because it seemed to me that last night in the Xfinity race, we had a ton of cautions at this point. How come so few cautions in the Cup race tonight?
Well, Otto, you never really know. I think sometimes we get lured into complacency, and all of a sudden you'll get 5 or 6 of them at the same time. So it's Bristol. You just never know what to expect. But I would expect a little more madness in the future here.
Well, you mentioned it, Jeff. Right? A couple times, Otto, we've seen cars kind of cut another car off like you see in traffic, and they're polite, and they let them get away with it. That give and take is going to turn into take and take here about the last 300 laps.
We're seeing a little bumping and banging here. Well, NFL kickoff weekend starts Thursday, September 7th on NBC with the Super Bowl champion New England Patriots hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. Then on September 10th, Sunday Night Football begins with the New York Giants visiting the Dallas Cowboys. The NFL season begins September 7th only on NBC. Getting ready for another restart.
And very important restart for the 20. He stayed out because he needs to have points. Remember, Matt Kenseth is the driver above the cut line, but he's there on points. He doesn't have a win.
And the field once again approaching the Geico restart zone. Kenseth on the outside, Johnson on the inside.
What a great start by Matt Kenseth. Jumps out to about a 4 or 5 car length lead over the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. As you see, the 88 of Dale Jr., one of the last cars on old tires, and paying the prices. The new tires split him 3 wide.
Kyle Busch came off the pit road. He has the freshest tires. And Kyle Busch running 9th. Kenseth, though, wants to hold on for at least 5 laps. If he can get stage 2 win. Kevin Harvick moving up in the 4.
You mentioned Dale Jr. in the 88. You know, if you use this strategy, you try to get some points, some stage points, and you don't finish in the top 10, well, you've just given up track position. You gained absolutely nothing for it.
Well, right now, 3 wide. I think the 88 of Dale Jr. needs to think about finishing the stage, because with 3 laps to go, he's lost his track position. He needs to just try to get to the finish and run these last 3 laps cleanly.
Falling all the way back to 14th is the 88. And Joey Logano's going to look to the inside. They still go through some of that speedy dry that's been put on the racetrack. Kenseth under 2 laps to go, looking for the stage win as it's 3 wide back here fighting for position. Some cars falling back, others rocketing forward. Kenseth, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, Ryan Newman, Kyle Larson, the top 5. Kenseth gets the win in stage 2. Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, Ryan Newman, Eric Jones, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Paul Menard, and Clint Bowyer, all top 10. They will receive points for finishing in the top 10 in that stage.
And I think for Matt Kenseth, that's his third stage win. Coming in with a 31-point lead over that cutoff point, those extra 10 points could be very valuable.
We've talked so much about how important it is to get a win. Kenseth, as you mentioned, Jeff, over the past almost 6-7 weeks, has been very good, has been putting the 20 in position to get wins. They just haven't got that first win of 2017. So now Kenseth in a little bit of a different situation. He does have enough points right now to get in, but the second someone wins that wasn't above him in the points, that knocks him out of the top 16, because a win will lock you into the playoffs.
And we know how quickly things can change. Think about Michigan last week. Matt Kenseth was running 3rd on the last restart and finished 25th, 26th, gave up over 20 points on that last lap with some problems. So you need to get any points you can, because you can get taken away from you really quickly.
Problem that Matt Kenseth has now, or it's not the problem, they knew this when they made the decision to stay out, is if they decide to come to pit road for fresh tires right here, which they're going to do, they're definitely going to restart back in the pack. But the mission was points under the stage finish, and they accomplished that.
Kelly.
Jimmy Johnson has sustained damage twice this race. We saw the right side early. Well, he also got backed up on pit rows, had a little bit of damage to the nose. You saw they made a chassis adjustment. It's going to be 4 tires and fuel. Meanwhile, the 4 of Kevin Harvick said he just needs more grip. The adjustments they made last time down pit road did not help. Car was worse. 4 tires, Marty.
Yeah, Kelly, Steve mentioned it. 10 valuable points for Matt Kenseth and this 20 team. The last spot in the playoffs as of right now. He said the clean air certainly helped. Car was still too tight on exit. He said the front tires feel like basketballs, Dave.
Ryan Newman gives up 4th, Marty, now after getting some stage points. 2 runs ago, his car was very good. Then it kind of went away, so they're going to make an air pressure adjustment to get back to that point. Rick?
Thanks, guys. Great work down there. I know it's very loud and very intense as we watch the race off pit road, brought to you by NASCAR Heat 2 video game. Kenseth for the stage win, but he was speeding on pit road.
He got caught in section 7. So as we look at the track map, pit road speed is calculated time over distance. So section 7, you see right here on the left-hand side of the screen, that's a big section right there. Matt Kenseth and Jimmy Johnson in a duel. Matt Kenseth just a little bit too fast on the bottom of the apron.
And it's black and white, Rick. If it pops up on NASCAR screen, you're going too fast, you show up in red, they call you out. Doesn't matter how much too fast.
Back to green. Eric Jones on the outside, Kyle Larson on the inside. And here comes Kyle Busch. Once again, Kyle Busch trying to complete the sweep. He won the truck race. He won the Xfinity race. Now trying to win the Cup race, all in the same weekend.
Yeah, and Rick, we talked about the idea to stay out to try to get those stage points. What's it worth? Well, the 20 had a penalty. Jimmy Johnson didn't, though. He restarted all the way back in the 15th position. So 15 spots on that pit strategy decision.
Yeah, and also that penalty by Matt Kenseth, although there are only 21 cars in the lead lap and he's in 21st, he had to start at the tail end of the longest line for that penalty. So he actually restarted in 33rd. Has a tremendous amount of ground to make up.
Eric Jones, Kyle Busch, 1 and 2. Chase Elliott back there in 3rd. Chase Elliott, another driver trying to find his first win. Otto.
Yeah, the final stage has started. In my quest to see Bristol from every angle, I'm up here in the flag stand. But since they've restarted and I don't have a helmet, I'm not going to stay up here very long. Back to you guys.
But you made it to the flag stand, Otto. That's something spectacular.
Smart decision, Otto. Duck and run.
21-year-old Chase Elliott currently running in the 3rd spot. Another driver that is yet to get his first win, just like Eric Jones running up front.
And much like every restart all night, Jeff, new tires, bottom of the racetrack. As the tires wear, they'll move up. Currently, everyone in the top 10, 12, all running against the bottom of the racetrack. It's like the Bristol of old on new tires.
Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, those two running 5th and 6th. Hamlin, they just welcomed a new addition to the family this last week. He and Jordan Fish, his longtime girlfriend. Now Taylor, the older sister of Molly Gold. Let's listen into the 77 radio.
We'll just have to, watch it. I don't know. We all talk about what's going to happen with the bottom lane versus the top lane and where we need to be. But obviously, right now, our car's best when we can roll the center on the bottom. And then I don't know if you'll just have to go up top and use your track bar. If it does wind up being that kind of a race, we'll just have to decide when we get to that point. I just know I'm going to need the center up top.
Well, what's difficult about those decisions, Rick, is what kind of race are you going to get? Are you going to get a race where you have a 15, 20 lap restart and the only thing that matters is how you can fire off? Are you going to adjust your car to go to the top and then you get a lot of short runs where it's not going to help you? That's what's so difficult about these decisions. But listen, Eric Jones is coming around the race to lead his 122nd lap tonight. Eric Jones is starting to be a guy that you can think about as a potential race winner. It would not surprise me for him to win this race tonight. Sat on the pole, led a ton of laps, has speed for restarts. That's a combination of a race winner right there.
Dave.
A lot of trust between Eric and his crew chief, Chris Gale, who is back for the first time after a 2-week suspension for a rules violation. And that trust went to making a change that Eric thought he would not like. It was to try to get that high line to work. It did not work. So the last time they came down pit road, they put it back, and you can see the way he's been able to retake the lead and retake control of this event.
My concern with that, though, Dave, is as the tires wear and Kyle Busch moves up to the top of the racetrack, can Eric Jones continue to hold him off? That seems to be the weak point for the 77 as later into a run.
Here comes Jamie McMurray trying to get a run on Ryan Blaney.
Well, that was tight, wasn't it? Ryan Blaney, sensing that he was there, gave him enough room, but there wasn't very much room.
6th and 7th right now between Blaney and McMurray, as the field once again spreads out.
And behind them quietly Clint Boyer sitting there running 8th. Remember, he and Jamie McMurray, two guys that just cannot afford bad races and having solid nights so far tonight.
There's Clint Boyer, you mentioned. Boyer running back behind Blaney and McMurray. What a great vantage point. We get to ride with the 14 of Clint Boyer. And just moments ago, the 41 of Kurt Busch just got into the wall here at Bristol.
You see, you talked about when do you go to the top. Well, Kurt Busch decided to go to the top and just went a little bit too high. All that tire debris on the top of the racetrack right there, he got into that, and you're out of control at that point. A little bit of contact with his teammate Clint Boyer right there.
And Jeff, he just radioed to the crew and he said, that was my fault. He said, I don't know how much longer this right front is going to hang with us, though, after that contact with the wall. And they had just gotten into the top 10, been working on this 41 car. He's going to try and hope it lives, but he's worried about that right front on the 41.
Big night for Kurt Busch. You're at 600th career start. I can't think of a better track for Kurt Busch to be making it at so much success here at Bristol.
5 wins, just like his brother Kyle.
But that mistake that he made, that's a classic high-line Bristol mistake where you keep trying to push the outside, keep trying to get higher and higher in corner exit, and you just get a little bit too high and you get your right sides in those marbles, and then you're just completely out of control.
Good battle between two young drivers here in NASCAR. Kyle Larson in the 42 on the inside. Chase Elliott, we're right along with him in the 24.
You mentioned young driver. Think about the mix we have. Eric Jones, young driver leading the race. Kyle Busch, an experienced guy. Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, younger drivers. Denny Hamlin, followed by Blaney. I mean, what a great mix of drivers we have in the Cup Series today.
And listening to Chase Elliott get back into the gas, the rhythm that these drivers have to have. But one mistake, and look at Kyle Larson, capitalizing right back on the back bumper of the 24.
And there's Kyle Larson's move. Enter high, turn down the corner, get a great shot off. He's going to try to get to the bottom right here and roll underneath Chase Elliott. But will Chase be able to clear him off the corner? He does easily with that run off the top of the racetrack.
Again, they're racing to get to that 15 car, Reed Sorensen. Who can get to him and be on the right line when they get there?
And this is interesting. The 42 of Larson will run up high and then dive down low, almost using the banking to shoot himself out of turns 2 and 4. Kelly.
Rick, Chase Elliott taking every opportunity to learn and get better during that last stage end. He had a conversation with his crew chief, Alan Gustafson, about where the faster guys are beating him. And Chase also telling Alan, hey, I think that the cars that are faster are a little bit freer. So they made some adjustments to help free him up last time down pit road.
So the battle between Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson is going to continue. One thing that we have to factor in, Steve, is the fact that these cars can't go 250 laps on fuel. So that's going to have to come back into play as well.
No, they can't. They can only go about 175, but they still have a long ways to go. Speaking of a long ways to go, the 20 of Matt Kenseth, we reported that he had that speeding penalty. Well, he's still kind of struggling, working his way back up through traffic. First, he had to pass all the lap down cars, and I think this shot right here is Bristol at its finest. It shows the speed, it shows the chaos, it shows those decisions. Every corner he enters, Jeff, high or low, where the lap car is going to be.
And what do you do? I mean, there's a tight, look how tight that is. 17 to 41. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. just all but in the side of Kurt Busch.
And I was searching for the position. He's got all the way back up to the 16th position.
So now the workload. Now you can see from a driver's standpoint what's required. You see, he saw the 17 was stuck on the bottom. He tried to just throttle up a little bit right in the middle of the corner to position himself so Ricky Stenhouse couldn't move up in front of him. It's not always about just making lap time, Rick. Sometimes it's about getting your car where you need it to be so that the guy you're racing with can't do what he wants to do.
And this sounds simple, Rick, but one thing I love about night races, clear helmet visors. You can look right at the eyes of Matt Kenseth. Look at the focus, looking ahead. At these speeds, Jeff, he has to look way out in front of him, pick his points.
While he's racing. Remember, we just saw the wreck that happened. The Casey Kane got in. They wrecked in front of him. He didn't see it. So Matt Kenseth, while racing Daniel Suarez and Kurt Busch, he's got to be looking ahead also. He can't just be looking at those two cars. He has to be looking as far ahead as he can to try to avoid any accidents that may be coming.
292 laps complete of the 500 schedule. Out in front, it's Eric Jones, the 21-year-old from Michigan, looking for his first win in the Monster Energy Cup Series.
May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others. Let others do for you. May you build.
Long live the fearless, and long live the trucks that push you further. Ram, America's longest-lasting pickups.
Now get an average $11,468 in total values on the 2017 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab with a Hemi V8 engine.
This summer, a Wendy's Frosty is just 50 cents.
So feel free to freak out, because now's the best time to indulge a little, or a lot. Do you? The 50-cent Frosty, available for a limited time at Wendy's.
Best pizza, New York style.
No way. Chicago deep dish.
Nah, white pie.
Half veggies, half meat. Just cheese.
No, pepperoni. Extra crunchy.
Really? Has to be gluten-free.
Pop it with arugula.
No, basil.
Eggplant.
Dude, really? That's not pizza. Come on.
Pizza. And a Coke.
You got that right. 2 Cokes, please.
My pizza goes best with a Coke.
An ice cold Coke.
Only with a Coke.
Before you open your eyes, at Smithfield, we're busy slow smoking. Before you sizzle, we hand select and hand trim. Before you were born, we gave birth to flavor, which you'll find in every bite of our naturally delicious hickory smoked bacon. Flavor hails from Smithfield.
This summer, a Wendy's Frosty is just 50 cents.
So feel free to freak out, because now's the best time to indulge a little, or a lot. Do you? The 50-cent Frosty, available for a limited time at Wendy's.
Some say it's just a scribble, a couple lines strung together, maybe a dot or two. You can't always read what it says, but when someone finally asks for it, you know you've made it.
Well, this is your chance. Make it count.
Let's show what we're made out of again this season. As good as it gets.
Years from now, people will be saying, I was there for a part of history.
We're good enough to win. Let's do it.
There's where the spotters stand at Bristol Motor Speedway. The spotter coverage brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance, helping drivers worry less on the track and on the road. Eric Jones leads the Bass Pro Shops NRA night race. Jones has been out front for 157 of the 304 laps that have been completed. Let's listen into Kyle Busch's radio and see what he has to think about the 77.
So a lot of information there. The first thing, though, is it sounded like they were riding around under yellow. They were not. That's under green. Commas could be running 15.5-second laps here at Bristol. But he talks about the cars being loose on the extremities. That's entry and exit. Sounds like it's tight in the middle. Then what he meant about cyclers, remember back to that stage? He pitted right before the stage end, ran just a couple laps on his tires, and the caution comes out. That's considered a cycle. They got hot, then they cooled down, kind of like a wash cycle, right? They've gone through one set of efforts. That can change how the cars handle.
Marty.
And Rick, what we've seen all evening long is Kyle Busch be better than Eric Jones on the long run as we ride on board with Kevin Harvick right now. But that's not the case. You just heard Kyle say very tight in the center. And as Steve mentioned, loose on the corners. He said, you know what? I just think the 77's better than us right now. That's a big statement coming from Kyle Busch, who's falling a little bit further behind this 77. Eric Jones, very impressive this evening.
Yeah, Marty, Eric Jones is very impressive. But as we ride along with Kevin Harvick, we heard Kyle Busch talk about cycle tires. Well, remember, Kevin Harvick stayed out to finish third at the end of the second segment. He restarted 17. He is now, with newer tires that were not cycled, driven up to 6th place. So there may be something to, even though it's not many laps, the heat cycles on tires may actually hurt the tires, especially the longer you run on them.
Kyle Larson finally able to get by the 24 of Chase Elliott. It took him a lot of laps to be able to make that pass, but Larson up to 3rd and Chase Elliott back to 4th. Denny Hamlin running 5th. Harvick, as we were just riding along with him, he's in 6th. McMurray is 7th. Ryan Blaney has silently been running in the top 10 and very impressive. He runs 8th right now.
He really has had a nice night back there in the 8th position to go a couple positions behind him. Jimmy Johnson in 9th, and then Ryan Newman. He joined us at the Hall of Fame on Wednesday for the Hall of Fame show on NASCAR America, and we had that conversation about being tough. He's known to be very tough to pass. He encouraged it. He said, you know what? That's what I do. I'm a race car driver. Doing it again tonight, a very nice job running around the top of the racetrack, protecting his position.
Newman's been very good at point racing, just getting a little bit more than what maybe they thought they could get out of the car on a weekly basis.
But Jimmy Johnson, he stayed out as well, along with Kevin Harvick.
Jones has a 1.6 second lead over Kyle Busch as we look a little tighter here on the 4 of Kevin Harvick. The fire underneath the hood of that car.
That's like the Bristol glow, Rick. The rubber builds up, it falls off the tires. Well, it'll ball up and stick underneath the car. Sometimes it sticks on the exhaust, on the headers. The header is glowing red. It's so hot the fire or the rubber catches on fire. You just hope it's not near an oil line. Rarely does that happen, but I have seen it burn through an oil line. Hopefully it'll just go out for the 4.
Yeah, we actually saw that with Ryan Newman a little bit ago. We could see it out the window, and it eventually went out. So that's what the 4 team has to. Really no big deal. It's just sitting on top of the header. But as Steve said, as long as it's not real close to an oil line or something like that, it should cause no problem. How about that? Drive your car. It's on fire. But it's
on. You are on fire, literally. Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin diving down on the bottom of the track. Hamlin running in that 4th spot. Chase Elliott is 5th.
And Rick, I don't want to jinx anyone, but Bristol changes. It's a major shift. The majority of cars that dominate the first half of the Bristol race struggle to keep up with the changing racetrack. We'll see if that happens to Eric Jones or Kyle Busch. But as I look up and start to see lap 320, 321, 325, that's that section of the race that always used to put my stomach in knots, because if you were good, it's changing. Hopefully if it's bad, it's coming your way and the car's getting better.
Steve, I came in one year and dominated the first 2/3 of the race. Nobody could run with us, couldn't touch us. We didn't keep up with the racetrack, ended up finishing 8th or 9th that night after leading so many laps. It really didn't do anything wrong. We just didn't keep up with the racetrack.
And you saw right there, that left front of the 4, we'll see it even better when it gets to the backstretch right here. We'll get a little close on that left front tire. Looks like the old Bristol glow has gone out. The rubber's fallen off or blown off, but the fire's out.
Sure enough, no fire underneath the 4 anymore. 73 laps have been run since the end of stage 2. And again, Eric Jones holding on to the top spot. He has a 2-second lead over Kyle Busch, and they continue to work through traffic. Sparks coming out behind the 43 once again. It looks like he has either a tire issue or got into the wall. It's been a long night already for Eric Almirola.
It has. And now here's the problem. He's on the high side. How do you get down, Jeff? There's no holes in traffic. He's going to do his best, but with cars coming quickly, you just hope all the spotters see the 43.
We got a little break right here. If you get down, stop crawling. Here comes the 18 back inside.
And the car's diving to the inside of that 43. He's trying to get down. He just can't.
Yeah, same thing. We saw Kurt Busch just way out of the racetrack, looking very similar to that. Just got out of the groove right there.
Got into the wall. A little bit of smoke now coming out of the right side. We saw the sparks earlier. Looks like both of the right side tires were up.
Now the trouble is he has to get to the right pit road, so it's a long way around. But this 77, I know we've talked a lot about him, but winning here throws the playoff picture into complete disarray. And look who he's coming up to lap. The 22 of Joey Logano. A car, Dave, that we've talked about all summer. Central Richmond needs to run better. Showed a little bit of light at Michigan, but it just has not gone his way lately.
You heard Joey in Countdown to Green talk to us. The next 3 tracks are all possibilities, but tonight just does not look that way. The car just has not been good. They've been trying to coach him online where others are running well, where he looks like he's running well, but there's just no speed in the race car now. Hey, maybe the only thing he can hope for is that switch that Jeff talked about. Maybe the second half can be a little better for Logano, but it sure doesn't look like a winning 22 tonight, which is what he needs.
Must-win situation for Joey Logano, and he's about to go a lap down. Race leader Eric Jones right behind him. And Jones trying to get to the inside, but Logano doesn't want to go that lap down. A little contact there.
We got to stay calm here. I know Eric Jones is frustrated with Joey Logano because Joey Logano definitely blocked him, but remember, Eric Jones is a rookie. This is a long race. You have to remain calm. You have the fastest car on the racetrack right now. Don't put yourself in position to hurt your car, slow your car down, cut a tire. You have to stay calm. Even when you get upset, that's part of Bristol.
He completed the pass. So Eric Jones puts him a lap down.
So much calmer now that he's up in the booth. Down there, he would have been crazy.
Let's go NASCAR nonstop.
At Coors, cold counts. That's why we lager, filter, and package cold for a cleaner, crisper taste. Because our mountain is brewing the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Light. Whatever your mountain, climb on.
I came here to be better.
Newcomer Daniel Suarez certainly isn't afraid to lock horns with the veterans.
Now I stand here a challenger. To be questioned, to turn heads, and to be the last person anyone wants to see in the rearview mirror. I came here to race.
We just did it. We just did it.
Walter? Is that the rest of our food?
What? No. How come you have cheese in your beard?
Because switching to Geico could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Oh. Okay.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Gross!
Every lap timed to 100th of a second. Every gallon measured down to the last drop. Every tire holding till its last tread. Each moment building with pressure. But no matter the precision put into a car or a race, the path to victory is through total chaos.
Unbelievable.
NASCAR's official throwback weekend returns to Darlington Raceway on September 3rd. Cast your vote for your favorite throwback paint scheme at NASCAR.com/throwback. Vote daily. See who brings home this year's Best in Show trophy. As riding along with Chase Elliott's and the 48s of Jimmy Johnson continues to close the gap. That was Harvick, actually, we're riding along with, looking back on Johnson.
I think this racetrack has surprised these drivers and teams. I think that going into this race, the general consensus was the groove was clearly going to go to the top, but that's not been the case. There's been times the bottom's been good, there's been times the top's been good, but I think that's car dependent. I think both lanes are relatively equal. It's just, where is your car the best?
And hats off to the racetrack and to NASCAR for continuing to search a way to bring back that essence of old Bristol, and giving the bottom a chance has brought that back. We've seen more drivers, you just pointed out, the 77 he needed to show patience trying to get around the 22, hit him with the bumper a little bit. That's kind of getting back a little bit to that old Bristol.
Parker.
Guys, one car to point out that would not want to see that 77 win this race is the one car of Jay McMurray. He's been outside the top 10 for most early starts of this race, but has worked his way and has been as high as 6th in this stage. Been fighting tight, and as they come here towards the end of this race, if they were to see that 77 win, they would go from 52 points to the good to being on the bubble, which would be tremendous pressure on this one car as they get to the playoffs there, fighting to be in playoff contention.
Parker, I agree with you. Jamie McMurray doesn't want to see that, but I think there's several people that don't want to see it. I don't think that
Matt Kenseth doesn't want to see it.
Chase Elliott doesn't want to see it. Clint Boyer doesn't want to see it. That puts a lot of pressure. I don't think it changes the game for the 22 of Joey Logano, because he's pretty much in a must-win, but all those other guys, they don't want to see a guy outside of that top 16 win a race.
I cannot explain, Rick. It sounds silly, but at the start of every season, my goal was very, very simple. Go to Richmond without having Richmond determine if you make the playoffs or not, because it can be the most miserable night of the year. The pressure is unbelievable. Sleepless weeks leading up to it. That's what these drivers are trying to avoid.
When he was talking about the miserable night, he was talking about Friday night before the Saturday night.
Oh, yeah. Saturday night, it was just time to go perform.
So again, this race, then Darlington, then Richmond. That will determine the 16 drivers that will fight for the championship in 2017 in the playoffs.
We mentioned that shift. Jeff, well, we're starting to see it. Eric Jones has seemed to got a little bit better, but now Larson up to second, Hamlin to third, Kyle Busch back to fourth as the 13 has some contact, seems with outside wall, and the yellow's out.
Ty Dillon hits the wall. The caution comes out for the 6th time, and now with 147 laps to go, everybody will come to pit road, and they can all make it to the end.
They can, and these pit stops are always important, but the adjustments, I think, are more important than the pit stops. We talk about fast pit stops. Right now, it's driver and crew chief on the radio. Okay, look, we just ran 97 laps. There's 146 to go. We're getting to that last 100 laps, what we've talked about all week. What do you need? If you're the 77, can you get better? Kyle Busch has lost some speed. We just talked about the big shift in the racetrack. I think that has happened, Jeff.
6 also got into the wall, so Trevor Bayne also having some issues under this green flag run. There you see him up against the wall.
He looked like he had a tire going down. We talked about brake heat potentially melting a bead. This is the longest run of the race. About 94 laps on the green flag. Hadn't seen that long. Could have melted a bead on the right front.
So now, so much pressure on the pit crews. They need a perfect stop, especially the 77 of Eric Jones's crew, if he wants to stay out front. All in line as they come down pit road. Marty.
And Rick, as they come down pit road, Kyle Busch, you saw him fall back from 2nd to 4th there. He said he was having an issue with the tires. He said they feel like they got 100 pounds of pressure on the right side and only 90 in the left side. Adam Stevens said, listen, we've heard that before, and we've blown tires. Take care of them. So Kyle Busch being very cautious at the end of that run. Meanwhile, his teammate Denny Hamlin said his car too tight in the center, needs more forward bite. Kyle Larson said best he has been all day long, especially on the long run, and a great stop for that 42 bunch, Dave.
Marty, good top 10 run for Ryan Blaney. He's going to bring it down for 4 more Goodyear tires and a fill of Sunoco fuel. Said drive off was his biggest complaint. As for Eric Jones, remember he told us in Countdown to Green to maintain track position and not to make mistakes. That was his goal here. He's kept the track position up front all night long. Another good pit stop for Jones.
Eric Jones wins the race off pit road, and once again, Denny Hamlin playing games trying to get off pit road to get preferred track position. NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance, helping drivers worry less on the track and on the road.
We saw Denny Hamlin early in the race slow down on pit road, trying to get himself in the position he wanted. But watch what happens right here. He's wanting to be in the outside lane, so he slows down. He's going to be third. Now he's fourth. Now he's fifth. So now he gets a bottom lane, which he didn't want it, a row further back behind.
Oh, man.
Coming into the Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air. Bad start for Kyle Larson. He falls back quickly. Eric Jones, another great restart for him, and here comes Kyle Busch again. Look at the outside for the lead. Kyle Busch trying to make that outside line work, and Kyle Busch back out front. .64 laps led earlier in this race by Kyle Busch, and now once again he is back out front.
Yeah, but Rick, there's some new players coming to the party. If you look back, we have Kyle Busch leading, Eric Jones second, but how about Kevin Harvick? We talked about how far back he started, up to third, and then how about Chip Ganassi teammates? Jamie McMurray, the one that's decided to enter the picture. As I say that, he gets to the third lane and loses a couple spots, but he's another driver winless this season. And what a recovery from Matt Kenseth from that speeding penalty.
How about Daniel Suarez? Suarez in the 19 has made his way up into the 8th position, so running now in the top 10.
That's Daniel Suarez. That's what he does. He gets better throughout the year, and he gets better through each individual race. It's amazing how consistent he is at just learning the racetrack and learning his car and getting better throughout the entire race.
Yeah, look who's back there racing with him is the 11 of Denny Hamlin. We saw that game he played to get off pit road, lost a whole row there, and he's continued to free fall since the track has gone back to green flag racing.
21 of Blaney gave him a shot to move him out of the way.
It's go time. It's go time. 135 to go. No more playing nice.
So give and take now means give somebody a shot and take that spot.
So those moments that we talked about right at the beginning of the show, the big moments at Bristol.
Yeah, get your highlight reel ready.
We should be expecting something a little bit on those lines.
Well, look at Blaney. You can see the intensity has picked up with this 21 car. Yeah, once again, he rolled up in the middle of the corner, just touched the 41 just a little bit, moved him out of the way, took the spot. Now he's learned that works. So now you're going to tend to try to do it more. Once you learn how to do it, once you learn, you know what, I can lean on this guy just a little bit. Now you try to do it. Problem is you do it to the wrong guy at the wrong time and you get it back.
Or the golden rule, with 132 laps to go, there's a chance you might see some of these guys again. Last run of the race, you hope they have 7 days to calm down, or heck, there's a whole off week. Give them 14 days before you get to Darlington.
Kurt Busch continuing to run up high as Denny Hamlin and Jimmy Johnson diving to the bottom of the racetrack. Currently 15 cars on the lead lap, and Ryan Newman is the last on the lead lap, running 15th. Joey Logano is the first car a lap down. If caution was to come out, he could get the free pass.
So you mentioned it. We saw Denny Hamlin, you know, trying to position himself. He would have come off pit road in third. He's running 12th place.
Dave.
Rick, you're looking at the 21 of Blaney and the 19 of Suarez. Blaney had a good car in the spring race here, but had a power steering issue, and they brought him into the garage area to fix it and finish out the race. So they were happy with their concept concept when they came in this weekend. As for the guy behind him, leading rookie of the year, Daniel Suarez, you mentioned it, gets better every time he sees a racetrack, and last night was one of those times. Finished second in the Xfinity race. His only real issue tonight, he had a fresh air hose come off of his helmet early in the race. They handed him a piece of tape during a caution, and Daniel did some self-adjusting and fixed it.
That's pretty handy if you're able to do that while also racing around Bristol Motor Speedway.
And quite impressive, because I'm going to tell you, anytime I had a helmet hose fall off, I never could find it.
Well, and you know, while that seems silly, this track not only is mentally fatiguing because it's just constant action, but physically it can be fatiguing. We saw Dale Jr. go to the Infield Care Center last night after the Xfinity race, just a little precautionary. He said he was in the car Thursday in practice, last night, said he lost a lot of water just from sweat. He went in, got some IVs to try to prepare for tonight. That just tells you what he expected for the 500 miles this evening, or 500 laps. If it was 500 miles, I'm not sure any of them would make it.
Very human night tonight, and the constant G-forces. That's the thing about this racetrack. You're just constantly being thrown out, trying to be thrown out of the right side of this car, and also the noise. You know, there is noise exhaustion. You around this noise so long, it tends to wear you out.
Don't tell Otto that. We told him it was going to be loud. We didn't tell him it might exhaust him too.
What do we tell him his favorite word tomorrow is going to be? Huh?
What?
What'd you say?
The 14 of Clint Boyer has been very generous to carry the helmet cam. Let's take a look at the best of the helmet cam from tonight. Look at this save right here.
Wow. Crazy loose. Restarting all this chaos.
That is chaos. And then right here, his teammate gets into the wall and he gets into the left rear. Good thing I wasn't carrying the helmet cam, because remember that big save earlier? That would have been the best of and the only of for the helmet cam at Bristol.
And that'll do it.
Yes. It would have been spectacular, though.
And a close call there with he and Joey Logano. But what a great vantage point, Jeff. You mentioned how difficult it is to see at this racetrack.
Oh, it's just unbelievable. I think this racetrack probably here in the super speedways, it's just incredible how it really shows the fans what it's like to be in that race car.
Otto, can you still hear us?
Yeah, I still can, but it's sensory overload here in turn 3. I got a chance just now to talk to Austin Dillon, of course. That was my instructor at the Daytona race. Of course, his night is over early. Jeff, my research tells me you finished every race you ever started. So, Steve, what's it like when you go through all of this and then your night ends early?
Well, you know what? The one good thing is, since the renovations here at Bristol, there are tunnels so you can leave. You used to have to sit here and watch the race. But that is the up and down, the emotional roller coaster of NASCAR racing. You prepare all week to come to one of these races. You come and your night ends early because of something, a flat tire, something crazy. Very hard to recover from.
Let's ride along with Clint Boyer and just listen. Clint Boyer, best finish of second here at Bristol as we go NASCAR nonstop.
Long live the courageous, the tenacious, the ones who push forward and give back. Long live the greater good, the helping hand, and long live the truck built to outlast them all. Ram, America's longest lasting pickups.
Right now, get 0% APR financing for 72 months on all 2017 Ram 1500 models.
Think a burger place can't cook up the juiciest chicken sandwich you've ever tasted? Well, think again. The Barbecue, Club, and the New Hawaiian. The charbroiled chicken sandwiches with no antibiotics ever. At Carl's Jr. and Hardee's.
People know me as Dale Earnhardt Jr. race car driver, but I have many sides. When I retire, I'll be Golden Years Dale. I'll catch big fish, climb big mountains. I'll surf some really big waves.
And you'll run some big errands because we're out of mayo.
Mayo. Got it. Going for that mayo. For planning your retirement and more, Nationwide is on your side.
inside early. We're just moments away from adding a new chapter to college basketball's most storied rivalry.
Facing death, I had only one thought.
I gotta make all natural chicken sandwiches! That's just the marketing point, right? No, I'm talking no antibiotic never! What a world!
The charbroiled chicken sandwiches with no antibiotics ever. Carl's Jr. and Hardee's.
The end of the week. Work is over, school is out, and the wild ones come out to play.
The green flag is out.
Pups get a chance to dance with the big dogs.
Oh, they're going at it.
Roars from engines compete with roars of fans. And the stadium lights become a spotlight for one.
Here he is, Johnny Sauter.
It's truck season, America.
Big wreck for the 24 of Chase Elliott just happened.
The 13 was sparking going down the backstretch. Looked like he perhaps had trouble. I don't know if that stacked traffic up, and the next time I looked up, the 24 was spinning. Remember, we talked about the playoff guys. The 24 of Chase Elliott looked good on points, but this is going to be very costly if he has heavy damage. The 13 does have some heavy damage.
And the 24 was running in sixth place.
Smoke coming out of the 43. That's been for a few laps. He actually had a black flag with the white cross. Take a look. The contact there with Kevin Harvick.
Kevin Harvick was exiting the top. Looked like he was in the middle lane. The 24 leaving the bottom. Looked like he thought he was going to have the middle lane. Makes contact.
Yeah, I think you know it. I think the 4 was trying to go around the lap car and just didn't know Chase Elliott was there.
And now it's up to Alan Gustafson and his 24 car crew to try to get this car repaired. They must keep it on the racetrack. Marty?
For Kyle Busch, he said the car took off really good. I mean, super good, he told Adam Stevens. And then he said, it just builds tight. We've got something terminally wrong with this car, was his words. I don't know how we're going to fix it, but we got to do something. You see him putting tape on the front of that 18 car. His teammate Matt Kenseth, very happy with the car, said a little bit too tight. He too is back in the game. And Kyle Larson's in the car, very good on the long runs. And you see a long stop, 16.6 for that 42 team, Parker.
Jamie McMurray will pit out 6th place. They're going to do 4 tires and go back on their last adjustment. On that restart, he got all the way up to fighting for 3rd, but he was too loose. He fell all the way back to 6th. He's hoping to get that thing tightened up here for this next run, Dave.
Eric Jones handling and the car went away. Can he get the lead back on pit road after a 4-tire change? Yes.
Pit stall's so important. As we saw the race off of pit road, Eric Jones moves up that 1 spot. Kenseth got 2 spots. And Jeff, you've been talking about how good and how sporty the 20 is. He's in a good position now. Not a good position, the 24 of Chase Elliott. Night racing at Bristol. Tonight's aerial coverage provided by our partners at Smithfield Foods. Getting ready for the restart. 7 cautions already, and that's probably not the end.
Rick, look at the front row. I can't think of 2 bigger drivers to be on the front row. 2 drivers without a win. The rookie Eric Jones, the veteran Matt Kenseth. Eric Jones next year, he'll be driving the 20 car.
99 laps to go. Kevin Harvick powering around the outside. He moves up to 2nd.
So the 18 really loose under the 1 car, Jamie McMurray. That's typical of Bristol on new tires right after a restart where you pinch that car off, having to stay on the bottom because somebody was on the outside of you. Very easy to get loose.
Contact there. The 21 got in the back of the 1 of Jamie McMurray, got him loose.
See a little bit of, I don't know if it's brake duct or what it is, hanging out behind the 1 car.
Yeah, that won't hurt its performance unless it's his own brake duct, and then perhaps he could get a little temperature issue, but with less than 100 to go, I don't believe that'd be a concern. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. up here in the 17. Once again, had a little trouble early. You'll see duct tape on the left front fender, the whole black tape area up around the hood, but still has fought his way back, fighting to try to get back inside the top 10.
This blew that car in the corner, and he had to chase it.
I don't know
way loose.
What it is about Ricky Stenhouse in Bristol, but there's just something here that must fit his driving style. He always runs so well here.
How about Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in restrictor plate racetracks as well?
Yeah.
Those have worked out well for him. Take a look at the points, as they are right there in that 16th position with the 77 of Eric Jones leading. Potentially will get into the playoffs with a win. That tightens up that fight for the 16th spot.
That move by Ricky Stenhouse, he just turned left right in front of the 24.
Trying to block. We mentioned the laps winding down. Now Clint Boyer in the 14 shooting up on the outside.
Don't look now, but the 20 of Matt Kenseth, 4 wins at this racetrack. He knows that rookie up there needs a win to make the playoffs. When he has said it before, that points are nice, but a win is a guarantee. He wants to win a race.
And again, Kenseth was able to get by the 4 of Kevin Harvick, move back up into second. We'll see if he'll have anything for Eric Jones, who's now got about a 1.3 second lead in front of him.
Isn't this how it works? Hey, guess what? Who's taking Matt Kenseth's ride? The leader, and he's trying to run him down.
Well, Matt Kenseth and Kyle Busch coming off pit road after that pit stop. Kyle Busch on the outside, and a little bit of contact right there.
And there was some frustration between teammates. Let's listen into the radio of the 20.
Yeah, I don't know. We won't worry about it. Tell the 20s he wants to know why my hand's out the window is because both times he just drives me right out to the racetrack.
Rick, you know what that is?
That's communications.
That's Bristol. That's, you know, track position matters. You know that, you know, one spot could make a huge difference. Remember, Kyle Busch was leading this race not long ago, and now he's in 4th place.
But you know what else? That's Matt Kenseth doing what's good for Matt Kenseth. That's what I want to see. I don't want to hear about teammates. I want to hear about winning and making the playoffs. Matt Kenseth knows that's what he needs to do.
Hard into the wall is the 34. Big hit.
That was a big hit.
Landon Castle in the 34 slams into the outside wall. Caution coming out for the 8th time.
The 24, Chase Elliott gets the free pass on the yellow. That is a huge moment for the 24 to try to gain some points back.
Take a look at what happens here to Landon Castle.
Big impact on the inside wall. Just touched the inside wall, then comes back around. Hit the outside wall hard enough the front tires came off the ground.
Couldn't tell from that angle if there was contact or how he got spun around between him and the 32. I just couldn't tell. By the time he was coming into view, he was spinning.
Going to look at it a little bit earlier.
So we see the 32's running the top. Landon Castle's running the bottom. Still can't really tell.
Didn't look like there was contact. Just got loose right there in the middle of the straightaway. Kelly.
You see Jimmy Johnson took the opportunity to come to pit road. The call was if the rest stay out, come in and pit for 4 tires. He had been sliding the fronts through the center. It was just a little bit tight.
And you see in front of him the 41 of Kurt Busch also coming down pit road. So the gamble here, guys, this is the final set of tires that all these race teams have. So that's why you see a lot of the leaders staying out right now. These guys taking their final set right now.
But I like that gamble, Marty. Do something. You haven't been able to run with Eric Jones, Matt Kenseth all night. Maybe fresh tires is the answer.
Please, hold.
running of the Bulldogs? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much money Aaliyah saved by switching to Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Smithfield marinated fresh pork. Perfect any night for bringing the family together. Grilled, roasted, sauteed, or slow cooked. The prep work is done, so your meal is ready in about 30 minutes. So you'll never miss a beat. Enjoy real flavor, real fast with Smithfield marinated fresh pork. Flavor hails from Smithfield.
Bush. It has the same great taste it's always had. Even the same sound. Bush.
Introducing Hut Rewards from Pizza Hut. Finally, a rewards program that gives you points toward free pizza with every dollar you spend online. And get unlimited double rewards through October 1st. Don't settle for a piece of the pie. Join Hut Rewards today and earn free pizza faster. That's why no one outpizzas the Hut.
Cindy, you don't even have a dress.
You're not going anywhere in those rags.
Together and what have you got?
Cindy?
Introducing an all-new crossover, Toyota CHR. Toyota, let's go places.
And that's how...
Ready for the restart. Eric Jones will be on the outside. Matt Kenseth, the 45-year-old, on the inside. Back into the Geico restart zone. We're back to racing at Bristol. To the outside, here comes Kyle Busch. Trying to take second away. At the top of the screen, penalty issued to the 17. Too fast exiting pit road. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Eric Jones trying to stay out in front of his mentor. Kyle Busch running second and running down Eric Jones.
Eric Jones' success tonight has been on the bottom of the racetrack. As others have moved to the top, he has stayed true to what he believes is the best, and that's on the bottom. Right there, you saw Kyle Busch try to make a move on the outside. Eric Jones said, you know what, I like the bottom. He stayed right where he was, and it worked out for him. Question is, will it continue as these tires get older?
How aggressive will the 20 be now with the 18? We just heard radio communications between the two of them. They weren't happy with each other as they came off of pit road the last time they were on pit road. Now, will Matt Kenseth put the bumper to the 18 to try to take that spot? He moves to the inside. He'll take second away.
I think Kyle Busch looked up in the mirror and realized this 20 is coming. I don't want to give him a chance to put the bumper to me. I'm going to see if he can get up, run the 77 down. Maybe they'll get racing, or maybe the 18 knows his car gets better longer as they run. We'll just have to see if he can run these two back down.
Marty.
Rick, we talked at the top of the show about how Matt Kenseth kind of views every race as a must-win situation. But just think about the situation he's in. The guy in front of him is taking his ride next year. He's replacing him. He took his job, in essence, is what's going on. So Matt also knows there's one scenario that will put him outside the playoffs. He's in right now. That one scenario, also the guy in front of him. If Eric Jones wins tonight, Matt Kenseth's now out of the playoffs with only 2 shots to get back into the playoffs. So he knows that he has to get this done. He also knows he only has 70 laps to get by that 77 car. Jeff, you know, as a driver, tough scenarios, and Matt Kenseth knows exactly what's in front of him right now.
Marty, it is a tough scenario. Remember, Matt Kenseth is a champion. He was told, we're not back in this car next year. We're going younger. listen, I don't care who you are. That makes you mad. You want to go prove to the world and to yourself that you can still win races and win championships. Matt Kenseth will give it all he has.
Well, for all of the drivers that are right around that cut line, the 77 or the 20 is a nightmare situation. They don't want to see anyone else win a race because it takes a slot. Think of Chase Elliott. He's been in an accident. He came in here with a big point cushion. Well, between the accident and perhaps a new winner, it's going to evaporate right in front of him.
68, now 67 laps away from potentially his first career Monster Energy Cup Series win. He would join a very impressive list of drivers who got their first Cup wins at Bristol. Senior, Rusty Wallace, Ernie Irvin, Elliott Sadler, and Kurt Busch.
Okay, when does the 18 try something different? When does the 18 jump to the outside in an effort to get by the 20? So chatter in the rear tires. That's just loose. That means that the rear tires are actually, the driver feels the rear tires are bouncing as the car goes through the corner. When you have chatter in the rear tires, you have no rear grip.
Sorry, Rick, I went into flashbacks and nightmares for a minute. Chatter in the rear tires and the front not working. It's like the crew chief's worst nightmare, Jeff.
Hey, you almost want to say, yeah, you're in Bristol. That's what, you know.
Next, you'll tell me they're basketballs again. I've heard that a few times.
That's
as well.
coming. That's coming.
I don't think we can use we're at Bristol as an excuse anymore. This is aggression. This is trying to win. This is trying for your best positions possible.
We said this at the top of the show. What makes Bristol great is this. It's the last 100 laps. It's not about horsepower. It's not about downforce. It's about the drivers, the stars, the guys behind the wheel. What can they find? Is there any grip out there? Can they change their line? How can they find a way to the front?
Well, the line just changed. Kyle Busch just went to the top. That last corner, he went to the top. Did it through 1 and 2, it worked. Did it through 3 and 4, he made some ground up. He finally said, I got to do something different, and it looks like to me it worked. And hey, what if you're Eric Jones and you're trying to win your first race? Matt Kenseth saw the moves of Kyle Busch and said, you know what? I'm going to have to answer that. I'm going to have to go to the top.
And they're both catching Eric Jones.
Hey, Eric Jones, you're a rookie trying to win your first Cup race. You have 2 champions behind you. If you're going to win it, you're going to have to beat 2 of the best.
They're closing the gap. Jones continuing to stay at the bottom of the racetrack, but the momentum is up high.
Oh, it's up high, and it's up high in a major way. So now the 77 has to try the top, and the 20 is going to try the bottom, but that's going to lose to the 18, I think.
Now the battle for second continuing, but Eric Jones trying to figure out which line to run. Side by side for second, a little bumping between teammates.
This hasn't been Eric Jones' strength. How can he run the top when he hasn't run it all night, Steve?
If he wants to win this race, he's going to have to run different lines to come up on the lap traffic. The 18 of Kyle Busch trying to take second away. And in the process, he might go for the lead. Eric Jones stays up high. Kyle Busch down low, trying to make that low groove work still. Little loose by the 77. And Kyle Busch will clear him.
But now when 77 goes to the bottom, that opens the top up for Matt Kenseth by himself. I think the 20 was making time up top until he got trapped behind Eric Jones.
So now Jones back to the bottom of the track, trying to close the gap on the 18 of Kyle Busch. Busch trying to complete the sweep of the weekend. Out in front, under 54 laps to go.
Eric Jones, Dave Burns has told us all night how that 77 car cannot run the bottom. I think it might end up, cannot run the top. I think it's going to end up costing him the race because the groove has moved up and he cannot get up there and make lap time.
Let's go NASCAR nonstop.
With Smithfield Fresh Pork, the possibilities are endless, so you can bring great flavor to any meal. With a variety of hand-trimmed cuts, from chops to tenderloins to ribs, Smithfield uses the highest quality fresh pork to bring out the best in every dish. And because Smithfield Fresh Pork can be easily prepared in so many delicious ways, you can bring great flavor to the table any night of the week. Smithfield Fresh Pork. Flavor hails from Smithfield.
If you can't find a way around a problem, try going through it. Coors Light. Whatever your mountain, climb on.
You got a kitchen that's brand new, and you'd like to keep it that way, too. You want to set out on your own so you can teach yoga and just say, oh. You're saving up for your family, because the two of you are about to be three. A little help can go a long way in your life, and Nationwide is on your side.
Think a burger place can't cook up the juiciest chicken sandwich you've ever tasted? Well, think again. The Barbecue, Club, and the New Hawaiian. The charbroiled chicken sandwiches with no antibiotics ever. At Carl's Jr. and Hardee's.
May you grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always know the truth.
Long live honor. And long live the truck that salutes those who've built this country. Ram, America's longest-lasting pickups.
Right now, get 0% APR financing for 72 months on all 2017 Ram 1500 models.
Every lap timed to 100th of a second. Every gallon measured down to the last drop. Every tire holding till its last tread. Each moment building with pressure. But no matter the precision put into a car or a race, the path to victory is through total chaos.
Unbelievable.
Under 43 laps to go from Bristol. Out in front, Kyle Busch. Matt Kenseth running second. Eric Jones is third. Let's talk strategy. We're now under 50 laps to go, brought to you by Wendy's.
Well, we've talked about it all day. The track is going to change. Late race adjustments. Who has made the right ones? And if there's another caution, who will make the right ones? And then lane choice, Jeff. We've seen these leaders go from the bottom to the top.
That's right. And at this point in the race, it's no more given. It's only taken. At this time, you just got to take a spot no matter what it takes to get it.
Kyle Busch has taken the lead, and he's taking off on the rest of this field. 0.8 of a second in front of Matt Kenseth. Kenseth been fighting with Eric Jones for that second spot. That's enabled Kyle Busch to move ahead as he gets to the lap traffic. He gets a clean line as he can choose either the low line or the high line.
Well, and there's more players. You have Matt Kenseth in second. Eric Jones on the bottom right there trying to take over second. And behind Jones, we have Kurt Busch, who showed up in the picture. Denny Hamlin, Jimmy Johnson in sixth. And how about Trevor Bayne in seventh? At lap 355, he was the caution. He's recovered all the way up into seventh position.
His career best, the Knoxville, Tennessee native, is fifth at this racetrack. And right now, as you mentioned, just running in the seventh position. Knoxville about 90 miles from here. So the battle for second continues. Matt Kenseth has it. Eric Jones trying to find a way back around. And the problem with Eric Jones, as he was running up front, a little contact there between he and the 20 of Kenseth, and again maybe a little bumping. But the problem with Eric Jones is he was running the bottom of the racetrack. That went away. He wasn't able to make up any ground on the bottom, and so the 20 and the 18 were able to get by him. That dropped him back to third. Now maybe the bottom is coming back for Eric Jones. Some more contact.
Oh, I think he's got a shot right here. I think he's cleared him, and I don't think this fight's over. I think Matt Kenseth going to try to cross him over right here.
Eric Jones didn't seem to like that high line when the 18 and the 20 went by, but Jones is going to hang on to the second spot. Under 35 laps to go. Otto.
I've been all over, and I'm right back here. I realize because I'm a rookie, you guys didn't ask me for my pick. My pick pre-race was for Mr. Busch to pull off the sweep. How's that pick looking right now?
Yeah, anybody can say that with 35 laps to go that was
you
your
should have
pick.
come to me earlier.
Oh, okay.
Well, Otto, I hate to break this to you, but the fastest car on the racetrack right now is that 77 car of Eric Jones. He has been faster than Kyle Busch the last 2 laps.
Does he have enough time? That's the question. 33 laps to go.
Lap traffic. Remember the impact of lap traffic and what we've seen. We've seen leaders get caught up that Eric is going to have a little bit of help, but he has enough speed. He just has got to find a way to get close enough.
Well, look, so you have Eric Jones right here exiting turn 4 down the front stretch, up ahead of him, the 18 of Kyle Busch. But look in front of Kyle Busch, 2 wide, 3 wide. Lap traffic, as you mentioned, where you catch him, how much of a break do they cut you?
Now he gets stuck in behind the 51. He'll dive down to the bottom of the track. But will Kyle Busch be able to negotiate through this lap traffic quickly so that he doesn't have to contend with the 77 and Eric Jones and the big push that Jones is putting on right now? Under 30 laps to go. Marty.
Hey, Rick, earlier Steve was talking about how the 18 probably has less wins than maybe they expected so far in 2017. Adam Stevens and I talked about that earlier today, and he said we must start capitalizing on that. He said we've had winning speed so many times this year, so many times in the past at Bristol, and we haven't capitalized on that. Steve, you know when you have speed that wins races, especially building momentum towards the playoffs, right? You need to capitalize when you have those chances.
Well, now, Marty, it's not just momentum, it's also those playoff points. You're now rewarded for success. And the 18 looks at the 42 of Kyle Larson, the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. He sees how big of a head start they have when the playoffs start, and he's trying to close that gap as well.
You see Kyle Busch, he's been caught up in lap traffic, and the 77 of Eric Jones was able to gain just a little bit. Now, Eric Jones needs some help from these lap guys. He needs to have them get completely out of the way so he can get through them quicker. Dave.
And Jeff, for the young rookie, they keep imploring him with the most ironic statement. Don't rush it. Don't rush it. They believe in the setup. They believe that car is going to come around and that the track is going to come back for Eric Jones. But they're telling a racer not to rush.
Well, so many people think to go faster in a race car, you just drive it harder. Fans, you have to understand that the way you go faster is you maximize every part of the racetrack. How hard can I drive in the corner? How soon can I get in the gas? But if you drive in too hard, if you get in the gas too soon, you actually go slower. You have to drive these race cars with your brain, not just your right foot.
Well, and look at the playoff bubble as the 18 took the lead from the 77. It's a huge shift. It went from a few points here or there. When you put the 77 back 126 points out, it changes the entire picture. There are a lot of drivers rooting against the 77 of Eric Jones because it makes their race through Richmond much more difficult.
Kansas now trying to hold off the 11 of Denny Hamlin. Hamlin has caught the 20. And Hamlin trying to go by for third. Marty.
Hey, Rick, a moment ago, Matt Kenseth told the team, he said, guys, the front tires are just gone. I'm trying all I can, but I just cannot get this car to turn off the corner. Meanwhile, his teammate Denny Hamlin now up to the third position. And if we go a little further back, how about Kurt Busch? Yes, this is the guy who hit the wall earlier. He's back in the top 5 now. He and Tony Gibson have rallied this car this afternoon. And I tell you what, they have struggled this weekend on the 41 team. A lot of frustration, but look at this. Going to be a top 5 if they can hold on for 19 more laps, Kelly.
Trevor Bayne just lost a position to Ryan Newman, but still 7th. He came to Bristol off of the season best finish 5th at Michigan. When I talked to his crew chief, Nat Pusha, he said, yes, that was a huge shot in the arm for us. They feel like they've had fast race cars throughout the season. The execution hasn't been there tonight. They seem to be executing well. He's looking for a second straight top 10.
The gap between 1 and 2, 0.6 of a second. There's Kyle Busch. Eric Jones.
And Eric Jones, sorry, Rick, I was just saying Eric Jones is doing what he needs to do. He's staying close enough that if the 18 has a hiccup, and I don't mean a major hiccup, just catches a lap car wrong and has to get out of the gas, the 77 will be on top of him.
Tires are all done. Keep it nice and straight. Just focus, buddy. Just focus.
Focus. Under 15 laps to go.
Wow, I saw Kyle Busch. A big dive. You could actually see the tire marks on the racetrack as he did that.
That's not keeping it straight. That's not saving tire.
And now Eric Jones in the 77. He's going to fall in behind the 24. But he moves up the middle of the racetrack trying to clear the 24. He has to slow way down, though.
Yeah, that cost the 77 a ton of time.
He entered that lap before. He was 0.6 of a second behind. Now he's almost 0.8.
So with the laps winding down, the opportunities continue to dwindle for Eric Jones to get his first ever win. Although you see the gap, Kyle Busch also fighting to get by lap traffic.
Listen, Clint Bowyer's not going to make this easy. Remember, Clint Bowyer's one of those guys that needs good finishes. Every position matters to Clint Bowyer.
So with Clint Bowyer fighting on the outside, Kyle Busch has to go to the inside line. He clears Clint Bowyer. Now the 77 of Eric Jones running up high. He's behind Bowyer.
Yeah, well, Clint Bowyer doesn't want to see the 77 of Eric Jones win this race either. That's going to make his challenge even more difficult.
And look at the 18, threading the needle. Such a close move there, and Eric Jones is going to try to do the same thing, try to run through the middle. Under 10 laps to go at Bristol.
See how loose Eric Jones was on the exit of 2? Give everything he's got to this.
Running high, running low, wherever he can go to try to get by the traffic to catch up to Kyle Busch. Less than 9 to go. Kyle Busch, he won on Wednesday in the Truck Series. He won last night in the Xfinity Series, currently running up front, trying to do the sweep for the second time. He's the only person who's ever done it before. It was back in 2010. Kyle Busch has about a half a second lead over Eric Jones. 7 laps to go. Parker.
Guys, think about Eric Jones. How did he get his start in NASCAR? He beat that guy in front of him, Kyle Busch, in the Snowball Derby a couple years ago. And Kyle Busch remarked, I want that guy to drive my race cars. He then got a ride at KBM and got hooked up to Toyota and moved his way to the ranks, and now be facing his first Cup win against the guy who got him started in NASCAR.
And there's no lap cars in between them. But there might not be enough laps to go. Now, 5 laps remain. Kyle Busch in front. Eric Jones running second. Denny Hamlin, Matt Kenseth, Kurt Busch, the top 5.
Eric Jones has moved up his corner exit, though. Everyone's running high on corner entry. The 77 is trying something new. Look how high he exits the corner. Stays in the black all the way against the wall on exit.
The 18 of Kyle Busch, 3 laps to go. He's able to get by the lap traffic easily. 2 lap cars in between, first and second. This time by 2 laps to go for Kyle Busch. Only 17 drivers in the history of NASCAR have won 40 races. While the 77 of Eric Jones looks for his first win, the 18 of Kyle Busch, with 1 lap to go, looking for his 40th Cup Series win. Down the backstretch for the final time, Kyle Busch, get out the broom. You just swept at Bristol.
Proud of you, driver. Way to hang with it, man. Great job this weekend, guys.
Kyle Busch wins in the Monster Energy Cup Series for the 2nd time this year and the 6th time here at Bristol.
Great job, everybody.
Confetti starting to fall here in the Coliseum. What a performance put on by driver and team. Presented by Sunoco, fueling victories all all season long. In the truck burnout, he was almost outside of the truck. In the Xfinity Series burnout, he put on an incredible show. And he wants to top both of those here in the Cup Series. Back in 2010, when he completed the sweep, winning the Truck Series race, then the Xfinity Series, and the Cup Series, all in the same weekend, he amazed people. It's so difficult to win in the Cup Series at all. But after you come off of a win in the Truck Series, a win in the Xfinity Series, and then you can see how excited he is. A win in the Cup Series, he's done it again. And he will bow to the crowd with that checkered flag.
We're going to let Kyle take off the helmet. You can tell this one means a lot to him to pull off the triple header sweep at Bristol. And I know the fans love to see that. They've all come down to see Kyle, which is a very cool thing. And his quote on the radio afterwards, "Take that." It was clearly a big celebration for Kyle Busch, who wins here at Bristol. And he's getting some boos. And a lot of cheers as well. That one seemed to mean a lot more, Kyle. Holding up the three fingers. That one seemed to mean a lot more. You said, take that. Why was this one, this triple sweep, so special?
That one was a lot harder. Man, Eric Jones put up a whale of a fight. That was all I had. I was running with my tongue hanging out. My arms are jello and my throat hurts, but man, that's awesome. Just can't say enough about everybody on my Joe Gibbs Racing team. Adam Stevens and the guys are phenomenal. Car might not have been perfect, but I'm never perfect. I never feel like we're perfect. But this Caramel Camry was fast. So proud of these guys. So proud of my team. So proud of Joe Gibbs Racing. So proud of Rowdy Nation. This one's for you.
Obviously the fans love it. There are some boos, and you kind of feed off that, don't you?
I don't care. Make the noise. Who cares?
All right, Kyle Busch, we'll see you in Victor Lane, which is just right here, KB. So the fans have all come down to the fence. Very cool scene down here, Rick. And look what he's being handed. A nice broom for the sweep up here at Bristol.
And he'll climb on top of the car. He said, make noise. Camping World Truck Series started in 1995. It's been 22 years that it's been possible that anyone could do the sweep. On Wednesday night, leaning out the window, he celebrated his first win of the weekend in the Truck Series. Last night in the Xfinity Series, the celebration moved on to a crescendo, and then at an all-time high, the broom came out, and Kyle Busch completes the sweep at Bristol again.